Oh, we're starting?
Yes, we are on episode 10 of the Commentator's Curse. Every night, or every week rather, at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays, unless we have a big tournament, then it's on Wednesdays. So for you guys that watch it on YouTube and wonder, well, hey, when do they actually stream this live? Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. How are you, Crimson Blur?
I'm awesome, and thank you for reminding the fans at home that the show is actually live streamed. Also, seems like we have a lot more VOD viewership. People love to watch it afterwards. I can understand why, but yeah, check it out live too. That's always fun. We just had Evo, so there's a lot to talk about. Tons of discussion topics, a lot of different stuff happening within the community. Plenty of things that me and you can rant and rave about. But yeah, we got a jam-packed show today.
Yes, it's pretty packed, and I actually don't even know where to begin because like day one went kind of like unexpected. Then day two kind of went for an interesting turn, and then day three, had its own set of stories. Uh, like I don't know. Let's just start off by like talking about like how we felt about the experiences. How was the venue for you on day three when we were at the Mandalay Bay? What was your like kind of takeaways from the event?
So my highest top level takeaway is for the first time after an event, for the first time having, really like sat back and taken it all in, did I actually feel like, holy crap, we made it? And I say that even though, obviously we've been growing so much in the last few years. I look at some of the footage from Manley Bay, and I look at that, the emotions, the production value, some of the stuff. Obviously, there are things that could be better, but man, is it close to what we want in an ideal future? It's the closest we've ever been to that ideal that I can remember. And like just it just brings me to huge nerd chills when I see some of the pictures and footage of just how many people were there. Yes, we needed like 7 other communities to band together so that we could get to that point. So we had a little bit of help in filling out a stadium. I don't think we could fill out a stadium as we are now, but we were there, and man, did those few hours feel good. I was just in awe, man, and I have to give humongous props to the Evo staff, Chris Seglia, Mr. Wizard, the Cannons, Seth. All of them did a fantastic job, and I honestly walked away blown away and just shocked and impressed. They killed it, man, and I really do think that. I say that I have a lot of constructive feedback I could give, but at the highest level, like we were just in the stadium, man. That's crazy to me. And you look at even like the Yahoo interviews that you have like on your Twitter right now, and you just see the shots of like what's behind you, or you see like the panoramas of like 12,000 people filling up a stadium to watch our 15-year-old Nintendo game, and I can't believe it. Like I genuinely um, like I'm in shock, I'm in awe, and I left thinking that this is like a big monumental event for our community, and it will be remembered as such.
It's kind of nuts because we knew for what like almost half a year that that was going to be the venue, but it didn't hit me until like I walked in for the very first time, and I was getting my seats. Like we're passing by all the food vendors, and I walked downstairs and I thought like, am I at a basketball game or am I at a melee? Am I going to watch melee or am I going to watch basketball? And that's when it
No,
hit me.
for real. Like we actually there was hot dog stands, man. There was stadium food. I sat in a skybox like you would in a regular sporting event, and there was real production. We weren't on ESPN, but someone but Street Fighter was. So there was like a true TV truck outside. Like the floor had LED lighting, man. There was like a full panorama, full, I don't know what they're called, jumbotron, uh, at the top. Like, dude, it had like the things we talk about when we say we want to grow as a community, we want to reach certain heights, we want to be there. A stadium event was one of the things that we always talked about. We want to see our game in a stadium. We want to be able to have that level of production value. And we just got it. Like, that's insane. Like, that's so insane that we were just in a stadium last weekend and we're 15 years old. Like, it's I can't say it enough. Again, I know that we can't expect that this is not really our true power level, but we got a taste of what we can be, right? Like, our true power level is like way less than that because it took Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Guilty Gear and all these other games to help let us have the attendance to have this sort of event. But dude, the sky's the limit. Like, in the Evo crew, man, I just felt like for the first stadium event that has been done in the FGC, they did so much right. I mean, you look at like some of the production values that they did. The intro video for Street Fighter Top 8, they had Lupe Fiasco singing the song. It was like some of the best videography I've seen from just period, with like an amazing lyric video. Just like how they orchestrated the entire production. You watch the ESPN stream that they did over there and how it had content pieces, player interviews. Like, how close did we get to what we like? Basically, the ideal that we want out of Smash production. They were really close. And as much as we want to get better, as much as we will undoubtedly throughout this show talk about things that could have gone better, I really want to start off and say that I think this is a revolutionary event, and I'll remember for the rest of my life. So I was so excited to be there.
And like, we look back, what was it? Let's say about 4 years ago, or 3.5, and even though Melee was kind of having some momentum, like I never would have imagined that this would have happened. Like if you told me 3.5 years ago that this was going to happen, I would tell you that you're nuts.
Yeah, it was like I wouldn't have thought it would happen, especially this quickly, right? Like, it was shocking, just the difference we've made year on year. Every year, Smash has been getting better, right? And Evo's been getting better every year. But this was the biggest leap they've ever made, and this is the biggest leap Smash has ever made. I'd say going from last year to this year, like, unless you want to count 2012 to 2013,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And what I love,
huge leap.
And I was getting a little nervous because, and I know that you're the stats geek on this stuff, was viewership because the other games maybe they had like not as good of a slot as last year, but like there was a down signal for a lot of the games, and I was like, oh no, I hope Melee doesn't go down, but we surpassed last year's numbers.
Right, and look, it's hard to get more than 230K. Like, that's just hard. There comes a point where it gets very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Games who have historically done that. By the way, guys, 200K plus, you're like those are higher than like network TV numbers, right? Like, even if we were on TV, that doesn't mean we'd exceed those numbers, right? Like, Twitch as a platform beats most television channels, right? So keep that in mind. 200K is a lot of viewers.
I mean, that's what like E-League is roughly getting on TNT or TBS or whatever.
Right. So, like, let's not forget the impact there. Like, 200K is an insane amount. When you go higher than that number, you're starting to approach like, hey, are you on NBC? Are you on like global television?
It's
right?
it's like running a 5-minute mile and trying to like improve off of that.
Yeah, it's extremely hard to go even higher than that. But we did. We went a little bit higher. That's good. I think obviously I wanted going into the weekend knowing that we're in a stadium that, hey, maybe we can get 300K, and that was like a hope of mine. I think there's some things that contributed to being a little bit less. And there some of it you can look at, hey, production could have been better here. I think there was audio issues on the stream. I've looked at the VODs that might have affected people's experience. I'm not sure if that actually affected viewership. On the whole, things like Marvel taking a big dive in viewership throughout the year did help our lead-in. And then, of course, there was less people waiting for Street Fighter because many of them tuned into ESPN as it was. And like there's a lot of different factors. And as much as we were in a stadium, if you just watched the stream, I felt like you couldn't tell as much. I would have loved to see things like if they did a jib to really give like a good panning shot. If you guys don't know, a jib is like a camera on a crane that's able to go around, maybe like a sky camera if Manly Bay provides those to really be able to get that expansive experience. These are like super minor complaints, by the way. I'm just mostly saying things that would have probably captured the stadium more. I ultimately felt like the stadium was captured best in photos I saw on Twitter and interviews like I saw from people in the stadium and things like that, rather than the broadcast. So much that ended up panning out, over time. But it still did really well. Like I'm not gonna complain about those numbers. We did. It's our highest ever, and our
Yeah.
team was its highest ever. Like it's we ain't mad. We're it's as an esport, you should never if you're hitting 230K, you should never be mad. That's just like a rule.
Oh, this is like League of Legends Worlds. Like, there's very few.
Yeah, you have to be basically TI or Law World, or you have to be like or a CS:GO major for you to really like think that's a disappointment. And Evo's honestly, as terms of like esports events, it's getting up there. Like if you can't list 10 events throughout the year for esports and not include Evo in terms of peak viewership, right? And
Yeah.
that's a big deal, because last I checked, League, Dota, and Counter Strike are still like miles and miles ahead, and Evo represents none of those three games.
Yeah. I agree. And I don't know what the plans are for next year, but like it was really awesome from a production standpoint. I think you and I could also say, the tournament, itself could have been logistically better. I think that's pretty reasonable to say. But I have to give props as we kind of move to the subject. Other subjects pertaining to Evo, like Ponder did, write a post mortem, which is a pretty good sign.
Dude, I really respected that postmortem. It's actually we talked on the last episode about how we'd like to see event operators treat their brand, and how we want to see them treated with respect, right? And like basically deliver, um, like when given feedback, respond with professionalism, and that's what I saw. Yes, like many of us would agree that some of the complaints that the Wii U community had were justified, right? Like it's hard not to say that some of their complaints weren't warranted, but just as important to me is how they responded, and like just a comprehensive post, not avoiding any points, taking it head on, and talking about what they want to do in the future, their vision, and explaining it like for like a human to a human. And so I respected it. I thought that was a good way to respond to it. Now I don't think it justifies some of those mistakes. I do think some were more egregious than others, but it's still a really good sign, and it's
Yeah.
just it shows why they've built Evo to be where it is from the start. Like they deserve all their success as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I gotta feel for Smash for it because I think they got shafted the most out of arguably any community there.
Yeah, yeah, they got yeah. It was rough for Smash Four. Hopefully, they can be on Finals Day one day. I do think it'd be nice for them. They ended up with I think like 70K peak. It would have been a lot more if they were on Finals Day, I think.
And if the stream didn't go down like 3 times, right?
Yeah, the stream. I don't know if it went down 3 times. I have to look at it still. Again, this is my week after Evo. I still have to look and do a big postmortem to see everything with the viewership. But it did go down, and it went down for a long. It wasn't just that it went down; it went down for a long time, and I think that affected things too. So,
Yeah, of course.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we can easily start off with the themes of if you can kind of remember Friday, just to kind of recap and rewind a bit of we're at the venue, you're groggy, you got in, you're like, oh, I got to commentate with Webs. Web's calling you where you're at. So what was your general impression, of the initial pools and as we like trimmed to top 32?
Um, I so just a little backstory for you guys. Every year I help with the logistics at Evo. I help provide the setups, and in the previous years, I like I help with like setting up with the venue, and every year, despite that, despite like being in the venue like 2, 3, 4 a.m., I had gotten an 8 a.m. pool to play in, right? So this year, and I like to play at Evo because it's Evo, right? Like yeah, I might be not be a player anymore, but playing at Evo is cool, right?
Most
Um,
certainly, you're not, of the prime blur status.
Absolutely. This year, I saw how many commentary blocks they had, and I said, you know what, I don't want to get 8 a.m. again because I know I just wouldn't show up this year if I got an 8 a.m. block. So instead, they hit me with the 8 a.m. commentary slot. And I could have fought back, but I actually really wanted to be a professional. And I wanted to, like, you know what, 8 a.m. commentary, that's what, if I was a true commentary professional, I do that, and I do that without a complaint. So I know I'm saying this story right now, but I really do think that I was very happy to open up Evo, and it was an honor. So I commentated a ton with Webs. I think I did a ton of hours on day one. It was like,
Yeah, you did at least like 6 hours.
yeah, it was like 8, I think, or something like that. Some crazy. Day one, and then day two, I did the top 32 block. So
Hmm.
I think I was the guy who commentated the most overall this year. So they put me on a lot of stuff. In general, I've said it many times. Uh, I think commentating pools, like, it helps you become such a better caster that I like doing it. I like being able to have a lot of different partners. I got a lot of me and Webs this time, which was interesting and fun. Thankfully I got to do uh, a scar block, which now has like a commentary highlight video. And we also get that Chris Best set, which is really cool.
I heard half the video was just you and Scar moments.
Yeah, we have fun together. I love commentating with Bobby. Um, so it was good. Day one was a little exhausting, but overall, I'm just happy to be there as always.
It's very. I think day one was like very interesting because I think you could you were on the mic, so you have a pretty good feel for this. I felt like no one played well.
A lot of people didn't play well.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Um, But if we're to highlight, I think this is a point where we can talk about regions. I think that's really fair to say. This is a fair point because this is where we trimmed to 32. It's like which regions stepped it up, and I have to give a shout out to MDVA.
Right. Chillin beat Wizrobe.
Chew that beat SFAT.
Chew that beat SFAT. I thought for a second that Chew was going to go on a massive run because he got what was it, Zoo in his bracket after? I was like, that's
It was Duck and Winners.
right. But then even that I thought he might win because he's pretty good against Samus.
Oh my
And then,
gosh, that set was actually really ugly for
yeah,
Chew.
yeah. But in losers, he ended up getting Zoo, and I thought that was going to be, I don't want to say free, but Zoo never
We
beats.
would have taken 4-1, right?
Yeah, 4-1. Most people would take it 4-1 in Chew's favor. We ended up losing. so so someone would have made a lot of money on that bet. Regardless, MTV did really well.
Yeah, and then what was it? Laud beat Hugo. Rip to him. Zane
Yeah.
did pretty well, but unfortunately, he got eliminated by MDV. He got team killed by Smash God,
Right. Smash God took a game off Armada
and it went to game 3 last stock, high percent.
and made top 32 himself.
He did
Yeah.
make top 32 and got team killed by Nintendo, I believe.
Yeah. Nintendo had a horrible winners bracket, but then brought it all the way back in one of the longest losers bracket runs that we've ever seen. He like went to losers round one pools and then just beat everybody and made it all the way back to top 32. Like I think he ended up with like 17th place or something.
Yeah, he ended up beating Smash God and I think losing to West Balls for like 17th. Or no, I think he got 13th actually. I think he won 2 matches.
Yeah, you're right. Because West, yeah, West won one more match after him.
Yeah, he beat Nintendo beat Chillin' Dude and then played West Ball. So Nintendo literally like team KO'd everybody in MDVA.
Yeah, it's really really hard to like in Evo, there's always fun stats. Like I wonder what the one would be for Street Fighter. But if you lose, like let's say you're round one match at Evo, to win the tournament, you have to win like 26 sets or something. Because
It's pretty nuts.
your losers bracket is just so long. Because as you guys know, losers bracket just naturally has more matches than winners bracket, because all the winners get fed into losers. So if you're in losers bracket early, you have to play a lot of matches. And as disappointing as his loss in winners must have been, I thought it was equally, if not more impressive, that he still ended up with 13th because he had to win so many matches.
Yeah, it was nuts. Unfortunately, I was one of the victims of losing out early in losers because of having to run into Nintendo.
Oh, so you were one of the Nintendo victims. Like I guess half the bracket.
You know what was you know what happened in winners? Like I was really pumped up for it. This is probably not a good mindset to have, but like I looked at my bracket and I saw I had to face that winner of Asin and DP, and then if I lost that set, I would have had to play Nintendo for 129th.
Oh my God.
And I was like telling myself, I'm not losing to Asin if he wins. I'm not losing to DP if he wins. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's avoid the Nintendo.
But I didn't want to get 129th at this event. I sunk at Genesis. I went 0 and 2 at Genesis 3, or I went 1 and 2 at Genesis 3. I like
Wait,
beat.
in the whole event?
What was that?
In the whole event, you were
Well, I
1-2?
got floated, so I had to play Azusa right away. I lost. I beat Beach, and then I lost to Luigi Kid for like 90 something.
That sucks,
So I
man.
was like, no, I gotta step it up. I gotta do my work. Did I?
Yeah.
And then I also beat Eddie Mexico.
Right. Anyway, we have a lot of topics. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
and
focus
and
on
speaking
half
of
the format.
regions, sorry, stop self-loading. NorCal had 8 members if you count Nintendo in the top 32.
Maybe most impressively of those members, Pew Pew made top 8. He did it.
He did it.
He did it.
Did you see? Where were you when Pew Pew made top 8?
I was in that big circle around him, and then he went and hugged Susie, which was very
Okay,
cute.
did you see him get on in the chair?
Yeah, he was. My man was flipping out.
Dude, he was so happy. Like I'm a kind of emotional guy, but when I saw him like win and saw how happy he was, like I almost cried like watching him.
Yeah.
Because like we know the pain. Like he's been trying this for 2 years. 2014 he gets PPMD for ninth. Hardly not a bad loss. Last year Axe, like who's ever taken a set off of Axe like in the past couple.
With Marth, yeah.
And he finally did it. He did it against a Sheik, one of his other weak matchups.
Yeah, I mean, he did not have an easy road either. I was just so impressed. I came out of nowhere. I think that what was most impressive is that after all this time, this is when people had been kind of doubting Pew Pew the most. Right? This is when Kevin Toy, if there was a stock for Kevin Toy, this would be his low point, right? And whoever bought on him would be making riches, making bank right now. Because many people, if you ask them, how is Kevin Toy going to do? Some people would have said 25th. Some people would have said 33rd.
We
Maybe
projected
even
him to like play a Falcon for 25th, right?
You had him as 25th, right? And lo and behold, he gets 7th. That's a big jump.
Yeah. I think like against the Moon and Koval, right? Like you wouldn't be surprised if you won, but those are like 60-40, 50-50s at best, and for him to like kind of traverse through regardless is still like solid.
Yeah, it's really impressive. We can't talk about this much because there's no VODs, as far as I've heard. But they also won doubles against I think it was HBox Michiki.
There's a phone recording of it.
Is there? Good. I can't believe we didn't even get VODs of that. So that's just so sad.
A lot of we weren't even gonna get the off-stream matches until I coordinated that last minute.
Yeah, I tried the last day to get a stream for it. I think but it's just so hard. It's like unless you're in the menu, you don't realize just like how hard it is to like move everyone from one place to go to a stream in another building, for example, or another area, because we can't, we don't have internet to set up our own stream in the site. So basically, doubles at Evo was just really, really difficult every year. But they won it, SFAT and Pew Pew, and it was stacked. So yeah, good for them.
I think what was crazy was there's this one moment where Pew Pew kept saving SFAT off of rest by up being and covering the area that SFAT's trajectory would go.
I would analyze it deeply, but I couldn't get to watch
You
it.
you need to watch it. It was Kevin played phenomenal.
Dude, are they the best team in the world? Can we just say it now?
Who?
PFAT.
No, I don't think so.
Still, okay, all right.
They haven't played like an Armada. They haven't played an Armada-based team in a while.
All right. I just had to check because they're definitely the most accomplished team in the world.
I mean, I think they have the most results this year, but they haven't challenged an Armada team in a while, and they lost the last time, I believe.
All right.
So, so it's kind of interesting because I thought that there's a lot of interesting things that happened in bracket. So just kind of list them off.
Let's just skip them all. Let's skip them all and talk about HBox.
HBox?
Yeah, because I think we got to talk about it. And
but we want to build up into it. I guess we can talk about it.
I know what the fans want to hear.
Okay, let's talk about it.
HBox winning. What are the implications? What does it all mean? And I'm just going to say something that's very controversial. I'm going to say something that's going to trigger the entire chat. We have
a lot of Mango fans here, and we have a lot of anti-HBox fans.
We have a lot of fans in the chat.
Okay.
Say something that's going to trigger a lot of people.
Okay. What are you going to say, Blur?
If I had a time machine and I could teleport Evo 2016 Hungry Box against any other player at any other time in history, anywhere else, I think I'm taking Evo 2016 HBox to beat anyone ever. I really do believe that. I think we just saw the highest level we saw Melee ever be played from HBox. And people are not going to like me saying that. Because they want to think, hey, no, maybe Genesis Armada.
I think Smash Summit 2 Armada.
Or Smash Summit 2 Armada is what it's happening. But that dude was so clutch. So he played it so well, and he was really aggressive. He was all over people. I was just blown away by how well he played. Ooh, and I'm just seeing the chat right now.
they're blowing up on you right now.
People are triggered. They are mad. But end of the day, I want you guys to watch that gameplay. That puff is godlike. That is such a good puff. Left from Gommel, that one's a good argument. Left from Gommel is a good
I think
argument.
Left in HGC is also up there, man.
I don't think Left in HGC is as good as Left in Gommel.
Left in HGC was nuts. He made the HBox look silly.
But that was before. That was like.
No, it was during the improvement phase.
Yeah, but not like Battle of the Five Gods HBox or Evo HBox.
I don't know. Armada didn't hit like a single ledge dash out like in that event.
Maybe.
I have to say though.
I think it is. I think a peak argument is very interesting.
But you know what I will say, Crimson? I will say that is the most out of everything I've seen in my life. I can't think of anyone that was ever more clutch than HBox, like in a single tournament run,
or more deserving. He deserved that so much. Like he went through such a hard road, clutched so many games, played so well. Like end of the day, look, I have my personal friendships with the top players. There's I hate to see all of them lose, and
they weren't happy to lose. Did you see that picture?
They were very mad to lose, and obviously I have favorites I root for here and there sometimes, especially in different eras. But you look at it, the man deserved it. It's just so hard to be a hater of that run. Like it's just he played so well.
I mean, I don't think. I think it's I think you're speaking in the choir there, where I don't think anyone's saying that HBox didn't deserve it. He clearly deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think all the feedback has been pretty positive on him.
Yeah, I
But
mean, like if it
I
was one of those cases where everybody just SD'd and like he was just shield grabbing everybody, then you would be like, yeah, like other players
sure,
played bad, but like he
sure.
like
I also think that until I said it right now, I don't think many people have or would have given him the level of credit, like a statement that I just made, right? That's potentially the greatest we've ever seen anyone ever play. And that's what I mean, right? Like, yes, people like say, "Hey, yeah, HBox deserved it," but that's usually where they end the sentence, and that's where they stop the praise, right? We got to be looking at this as like an all-time result. It really was an all-time legacy-defining result. This moves him up in the all-time list by a bunch, in my
where
opinion.
does he where does he move up to? Didn't we have him at
He's
5?
fifth now. He's fifth now for sure.
Wait,
And
where do
here's
we have him at before this? I mean, I had him at like 5-6.
most people had him probably below PC. I would get, but there's no way he's below
I don't
PC.
think he was below BC. Like PC didn't win that much.
Eh,
He won like
I
3
mean,
MLGs, right? 2 MLGs.
he won freaking the biggest event of his era, man. That MLG playoffs, that's a big deal.
It is.
That's like a bigger win than HBox has ever had until now. So
Well, Five
everyone's
Gods was.
saying
I mean, the playoff
best
style
three.
thing. Like I think the Five Gods is like almost comparable.
Dude, yeah, I mean, but they haven't now that they've both happened. Like HBox is going to start clawing at Mewtwo King's legacy, right?
Ooh, that's gonna be interesting when we get to this point because I think I think most people agree Mew taking fourth right now behind Ken, Mango, Armada. It's gonna be interesting when that becomes like Hungry Box has like this compelling argument. I think it's a little too progressive for some people, but that is something we're gonna have to entertain now.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet. I actually think there's still a bit of a gap there because Mewtwo King's time on top was longer, and obviously we still have to discuss: does this make HBox the best player in the world?
Right
Uh,
now.
you think he's the best in the world right now?
I mean, I've looked at I'm working with the statistics guys here, and there's like every metric says that Hungrybox is better. So like if you're gonna say like no, you're biased, like no, you're just going by feel, like objective numbers will say Hungrybox is better than everybody.
He's won the most tournaments, that's for sure.
I mean, he's won 8 majors, and the only argument that people say is like, well, like when Armada and Hungrybox are at the same event, they are 3-3 in placing, but like that means you're discounting the other events that Hungrybox is going to and saying that those don't matter, which I don't think is fair.
Can you list off the 8 events just so we understand the gravity of what you're talking about?
I'm gonna go to the lovely SSB wiki because I'm gonna go in order.
Okay, I'm already there, so I'm just gonna list them. Okay, so he won Evo, that's one. He won CEO, that's another. I don't know if you're including Smash and Splash in the list or Low Tier City 4, but
We're gonna put them. I mean, he beat Mango, right?
sure, fine. We're gonna put them in there. He
Mango,
won
Music.
ETLX, that's another one. He won Pound, that's yet another. Battle of Five Gods, he won. He won PAX Arena. He won DreamHack Winter. I have 9 on my hand.
But PAX, I mean, DreamHack was last year.
Oh, last year. So he won 8 events this year. And if you go back to DreamHack, which is like end of November, almost December, that's 9 in his little era. And it's not like the other results were bad. His Genesis placement third, not terrible, and he SD'd in that. Smash Summon, he got second. And that was the one where we said that he could become best in the world if he just wins that. DreamHack, he got second. Gommel, he got third. Other than What the Fox, he was top 3 at everything, and he won most of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm on the HBox is the best in the world right now. I think it's the dust is settled and it's actually true now.
I mean, let's put it this way. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, if there's another event. Let's say we flash forward 3 months, and Armada beats him. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'm not saying he's invincible right now, but like clearly, he is. I would say he's the best player.
I mean, look, okay. If we talk about the arguments you'd have to make to put anyone else is better than him, right? You can't do a Mango argument anymore, not after this Evo. You'd have to make an Armada argument, or maybe like an off the wall Leffen Gommel argument, where you're just like, Left one Gommel, bro. That's all that matters.
No one's.
Apparently.
I mean, but like that's so ridiculous. You wouldn't be able to say that because, and I have to say this too because previously you would say Armada is 3-1 in sets against Hungry Box in 2016. After Evo, they're tied 3-3, and Armada has also done significantly worse against Mango than Hungry Box has.
Yeah.
Armada's doing a lot worse.
And frankly, Armada's okay. You can look at fifth at What the Fox and be like, you can really pin that as like a problem for HBox during this era. But last I checked, Armada bombed out a Gommel, right?
Yeah.
So like you just do the same thing for the rest of them, and everyone knows you could do for if you go outside Armada, if you go to Leffen or the others, you can make even larger cases for inconsistency. And like, okay, he got 1/5, but he got top 3 at everything else, and he won 8 tournaments, 9 if you include DreamHack. Like, dude, that's the best. That sounds like the best in the world to me.
Yeah. Like if you just like pretend we didn't like put names to this, right? Like I think it's safe to say that if you didn't attach names and said player A, player B, I think 95% of people would say like if you just put up Hungry Box's stats, Mango stats, Armada stats, and even Leffen stats, I think most people would pick Hungry Box.
People are pointing out that Armada and Agamo lost to Mango and Leffen, which is a fair point. Like that placing looks a lot worse than the people he lost to, and HBox ended up losing to Wizrobe at What the Fox, but still, like even with the Wizrobe loss, you look at his record against non-gods, and I think that's sometimes the most definitive, right? And it's basically perfect, right? And for the most part, the guy's just not losing to anyone else, and he's actually just running through them.
I mean, if you want to toss this out, if you look at the Miom top 30, right, and 2016, Hungry Box is 57-12 against the Miom top 30, and Armada is 29-13.
Yeah,
like it's really hard. You have to jump. You have to make a lot of logistical hurdles and flat out ignore certain things to say Armada is better.
Wait, you said Armada's 29-13
against the Miom top 30 this year.
Okay, against non-gods, Armada's basically perfect too, right?
Armada is perfect against non-gods, but like once again, he has like 30 less sets than Hungry Box.
Exactly, he has 30 less sets, and HBox might as well be perfect. Yes, there's Plup at Evo and a best of 3, and there's Wizrobe. Is there anything else? I don't think so, right?
No, he's like virtually spotless.
So basically spotless.
I mean, if you told me like I want you to play 30 more sets and you go like 29-1, like is it really worth penalizing you?
Right, and the two people he loses to, one's Plup, which I mean, really, like that, like that's like 6th best in the world, right? So it's not it's not terrible. And Wizrobe, many people are calling him top 10, including me. So I don't think like yes, those are bad. If you're HBoxing your best in the world, those are bad results. I think those 2 losses to the 40-2 or whatever he is against the rest of the top 30 is still acceptable. Yeah. He has more data there.
And if you want to look at more stats, like if you just want to look at elite level talent, like Hungry Box is like what 17-10, Armada is like 10-11, or 10-9, 10-11 actually against the top 5.
Armada's 10-11 against the top 5?
Yeah.
That can't be true, can it?
You can't be like number 1 in the world and have a negative record against like the top 5.
Armada's 10-11 against the top this year?
Yes. Let me actually.
That's really bad. That's really bad.
Okay, so we're gonna take out the 2 sets against Leffen where he played Sheik. So he's 3-3 against Hungry Box, 1-2 against Leffen, 2-5 against Mango, and 4-1 against Mewtwo King.
So without Mewtwo King, and you're looking at the other 3 that Armada's against, it's quite bad.
Yeah, let me calculate this. He's like 6-10.
So without Mewtwo King, you're saying?
Without Mewtwo King, he's 6-10, and if we're also not factoring the kickstart sets where he played Sheik.
Yeah, which we shouldn't.
Yeah, 6-10.
6-10 against Mango,
Leffen, Hungry Box.
The other top 4 players. That's really bad.
Yeah.
That's really bad. That's not good. How is he still getting this? How are his results still that good with 6-10?
Like if you like if Mango just like performed better against like the field, like you can make a case that he like if he didn't have, let's say he had like 3 less losses. I know that's a big stretch, but like Mango against, okay, he does not much better. He's like he's 10-12. Mango's 10-12 against
10,
the
12 against the other top four.
yeah.
So you took Music King out again for Mango.
I took out Mewtwo King out of that
10,
equation.
12. Okay, so Mango's -2, but that's better than 6-10.
Yeah.
So is HBox the only positive one in that group? I guess
Leffen is.
Leffen, but Leffen only has so little data.
Leffen
So,
has like 5 sets.
yeah, so like it's not much.
Yeah, Leffen's 4-1.
Yeah, so that's not very much, and that was just one tournament run, and the rest of it is him bombing out of tournaments.
So I mean, like the more you think about it, it's really hard. Like because like I had to think about this because I had to write a piece on this and like what does this mean on Yahoo.com, like. And like I was like looking, I'm like, is there a case that like Armada has, or am I blindsiding myself by just writing Hungrybox? And the more I discovered and the more I researched, I'm like, I can't make an argument for Armada here.
Dude, if you're telling me he's 6-10, there's literally no argument.
Yeah.
If he's 6-10 and negative or even against all of them,
yeah,
that's not an art like that. That's bad. You said 2-5 against Mango.
Yeah, he's 2-5 against Mango.
Yeah, that's no.
And you have to wonder here because usually when we have a larger event, there's 4 of them because for whatever reason Leffen can't make it, and PPMD, God, I hope he does better. What tends to happen is we seed Armada first, and then he keeps playing Mewtwo King, so he's like farming Mewtwo King to get to winners finals like at every event.
Well, I mean, it should be said that being seeded first, like maybe that's a big reason why he's getting top 3. I don't think he should be getting seeded first anymore. HBox should be.
Like imagine if he has to play like Mango or Leffen to get to winners finals this year. Like is he getting guaranteed? Is he a sure in grand finals top 2
If he's
candidate?
2-5 against Mango, no. Wow, that's crazy. So I mean, even if we have to make the argument by process of elimination, I don't think we do. I really do think HBox's resume stacks up to any of the other eras of the game. As in, I mean to say, when we talk about best in the world, and we take a reflection on someone and call it their era, there's always a few lumps, right? There's always a few events they lost or like things that didn't go their way. But I just can't see a scenario where you can look at the last this year and not view it as his era. It just is. It just is, man. And I don't know how long it'll last. Maybe he'll continue his run through August and for the whole summer. But it's time we just said it. He's the best in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think it hurts for a lot of people to kind of internalize because, I get it. Like, he's a fan favorite to some and not a fan favorite. People can talk about how they hate Jigglypuff, but the fact of the matter is, this guy is really good. And I mean, the results, the metrics all point to him clearly ahead of everybody else.
Yeah. So I just think that he deserves it. He deserves it. He's been going to a lot of events. He hasn't shied away from competition at all. He is an incredible competitor. He's extremely clutch. He seems to have a very strong mental game. He bounced back from his What the Fuck result and came back even stronger. And he played Inspired Melee that we're going to remember forever in our first stadium event. Smash's first stadium event. He took over, and he deserves all the credit in the world. I just we have to talk about who's second sometimes right now. I do. I mean, who's second in the world?
I think Armada. Mango has too many inconsistent losses. So I'll bring it up since I have the half of stats.
Armada still got second.
Yeah, definitely. Mango has 1 loss to Plup, 2 to West Bowls, 1 to Axe, 1 to Hacks. I don't know if you want to asterisk that one. So he has those 4 losses that kind of ding him. one to Plup, two to West Bulls, one to Axe. I think, to be honest, like if three of those losses didn't exist, I would put Mango higher. But for the fact that he's lost 5 sets to six and below, like I can't give it to him, even though Armada does worse against like the upper level
I'm gonna
talent.
say, even though we just talked about how Armada's 6-10 against the other top four, he still won Genesis. He won Smash Summit. Those are two very, very big events for him. And got second at Evo at the end of the day. He was like one hit away from winning the whole freaking thing. Really close call. And he's still been getting like top three at almost everything except Gommel, you know?
Yeah,
So
but he
it's the head-to-heads aren't great, but he's really good against the
I mean, he does have the results, and I think at this point, we always say brackets are kind of funky for like the top 15 to 20, but when you're at the top, wins do matter.
Right.
I think that's fair to say.
Right.
But it's going to be interesting, right? Because we're going to go to Big House. I'm not sure if Armada's attending anything else this summer, but we go to Big House and we go to the fall. Like Armada's seeded second or third, and he has to have a tougher road. I'm not sure if he keeps getting top two.
Right. So I think Armada still, because he got second, still holds on and stays second. Though I don't think he's a solid second at all. We have to like pull all the way back to Genesis to justify it. But I think we're gonna keep Mango at 3, and then put Leffen 4, 5 Mutant King, something like that. That's how it's been. I think it's shaped out outside of Evo. There's always the Plup conversation too, because he went to a big run. But
I mean, this kind of brings up a question that we always kind of flirt with, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. Plup or Mutant King?
oh man, what a question. Are we really ready to put Plup higher? I am hesitant. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can put Plup above Mutant King.
Intuitively, I agree with you, and it's one of those questions that I've been getting asked a lot lately. And what I've been telling people is I'm going to say Mutant King for now, but I'm only like 75% confident in that.
I have to take Mutant King because of his set against HBox at What the Fox, because of his set against Armada at Smash Summit, and how close he's been keeping against Armada in general, because of his record against Mango. I still think it's too solid. I think they're both in a tier where they're unlikely to win a tournament, but can still get top 3. So they're definitely the same tier. And I think Plup has proven at this point that even the floor of his skill is a tier above the people below him, and so I view him as the same tier as Mutant King, like we've been saying for a long time, in that we have a top 4, and then we have 2 more with Mutant King and Plup, and then we have the next few, but it's not yet. I think his results at Evo obviously speak for themselves, and he deserves it, and the fact that you're asking the question is mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
But
and this isn't like a power rankings thing. It's like a extended like 4 to 5 month performance.
There was a moment there, it should be said, after he beat HBox, and and he headed off into winners finals. I want to repeat that. We had Plup in winners finals. We had Plup in winners finals. Where I was like, dude, you and I sat on this show and said, maybe it wasn't on the show, but we had talked and said that we predicted in the year 2016 that Plup is capable and even probably will win a major event. And I was sitting there watching Evo, and I thought, wouldn't it be crazy if Evo was that event?
It would have been. People would have gone nuts. Like, I think he's a fan favorite. He's fun to watch. I think everybody would have gone freaking nuts if he won. I would have gone nuts. Like, when's the last time a solo Sheik mains won an event?
He's not a solo Sheik main. He's a Sheik Samus, but yeah, so same concept. Um, I uh I just think he's incredible. He's not stopping his improvement. He's so hungry. It's obvious that he's the next guy, right? Like he's it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
These gods, they're not they're clinging on, and they're doing it. But Plup's coming, man.
Yeah.
Plup is
I do
absolutely.
think there is one thing that I mean, I think he's really good. I think let's see. What's a good sports analogy I can give? He kind of reminds me, when you have like a really talented team that like goes like 63-19 in the season, they're good, they're an up and coming, and then they run into like the Spurs and then they get outclassed by grittiness and experience.
Right.
I think that's kind of where Plep is right now. And I think once he gets a little bit more experience playing in top threes of these long marathon runs, then I think he'll do it. But I think he needs to get that grind in.
I think actually some of the best things that have ever happened to him was getting these heartbreaking losses. I think heartbreaking losses are going to build a monster because he's going far in tournaments, feeling the disappointment of going out right when he thought he was going to win, and like he's building mental resolve, right? He's building fire. It's like I'm sure after he's losing those type of sets, he goes home even hungrier than before, right? Wanting to shock and change the world even more than before, right? I think sometimes it's good when it doesn't come easy, right?
Yeah,
And it's not coming easy for him. He's fighting for it. He's scrapping for it. But every event I look at, it's a little bit better.
yeah.
And
Imagine
so,
an alternate universe where he doesn't get that down air suicide on Yoshi's in like game 3.
yeah, exactly, right?
Like that like literally caused him to fall apart.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
so I mean, kudos to Plup. We go down further the bracket. Fortunately, Mutant King hasn't won. He won a game this time, which is good for him in top 8.
he hasn't done very well in those main stage situations, has he?
He didn't win a game up until this point.
It actually makes you think, like, we talk about Mutant King's legacy, right? And I wonder if one day someone's going to go back and look through it and really use this as a point of criticism for him, because it feels like consistently, the bigger the stage gets, the worse Mutant King gets, right? And so much of his peak in skill and so much of his greatness has come in eras where he, like grand finals, frankly, is a setup in the corner, you know? Or like it just doesn't have the production value that's come more and more with the modern era. And tournaments are like the acceleration is not going to stop, you
Yeah,
know? Mutiny's got to keep that mental fortitude and learn how to play under extreme amounts of pressure, because it's none of this production is going to change. Like Evo next year is going to be even better or bigger than this year. He's got to figure this out, and I think it's a very valid criticism that when he's put in nerve-wracking situations, he lets his nerves get racked.
yeah. I think he's like the Wilt Chamberlain of like of melee because like he puts out the gaudy stats. Like he's good. Doesn't have the rings though. The rings
Does
don't match like how good he is. I guess.
hey, Wilt has some rings, and so does Music King, but he doesn't have many.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's actually an apt comparison. I like it. Though one thing that should be said about Mewtwo every time we talk about him is his longevity. Right? It's just incredible. How long he's been on top. It's ridiculous. Actually, we're talking from '06 to now. It's 2016. That's 10 years, guys.
Might be
That's not.
11 to be fair. Like '05, what was he? He was like a top 8 player in '05, I would say.
No, he wasn't. No, no, no. Not '05. Are you kidding me? No.
Yeah, I
What
mean that
was
was
that?
the MLG season, right? When his Fox started getting really good, just
No,
being
that's '06. That's definitely not '05. He was
oh,
not a top player in '05.
okay.
No. But '06 he was. Absolutely. When his Fox started going up. Um, so, it's still really impressive. Speaking of legacies, someone who I think who just continues to impress me, and I do think that it's a very impactful to his legacy, is Chudat. Um, dude, he beat SFAT, arguably a top 10 player in the world, if not top 15. And this dude is like, he's just still chugging along. Like, he ended up losing in losers to an opponent that maybe he probably should have beat. But chew, dude, like what the heck? Why is this guy still in every top 32? Why is he still making top 16? Why is he like what's going on? He could have made top 8 this year again.
I mean, I think the biggest thing here is so the biggest criticism we have about like the Kens and the Hugos is that they don't punish hard enough. Like their neutral games are smart. Like they mix up well. They have solid mind games. They don't choke under pressure. For Chu to be able to say like I just got to like refine my wobbling setups and my grabs combos, that's a lot easier for him to kind of normalize his punish game to where it needs to be in 2016. Where you look at Ken and Hugs, like they're not going to do enough damage to win, no matter how many neutral games they win.
Potentially. I think Ken, he's just a cheeky. My analysis at least is that Ken's base style is beautiful, and what his generally I think he's an incredible player, but he's a cheeky guy. He likes to be cute with it, and he likes to trick people. He's a trickster,
Yeah.
It's like how he plays Survivor, and those tricks he does, people are just too smart for that. No one's getting hit by side Bs anymore. Some of those wacky counters he does, random up Bs sometimes, like weird ass F smashes. Yeah, like people are just it's not gonna work. It's not it's not happening.
I mean, I felt the same way with Asin too. I mean, like I was just like, I know you're gonna want to forward smash here, so I'm just gonna sit here, wait, and I know I can punish you off of it, and that's kind of the story of our set.
Is I actually think Asin's base style might just not be good. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the risk reward has shifted so much where like you forward smash in 05, like you might take damage. They may mess up the wave dash out of shield. Now you're just gonna die.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is that I think that like you just look at someone's base gameplay and like how they approach the game. I would argue that the way Ken approaches the game is very beautiful, and it's in many ways, in my mind, correct and optimal. It's really really good. It's just the tricks and the small micro situations and the weird gimmicks he goes for that really really destroy him. Whereas I think with Asin, the base is the gimmick.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the fundamentals are what's wrong. And back in the day, like now, this doesn't stop him from being a top 10 player all the time. Absolutely not. Back in the day, a lot of that stuff, when you could revolve your game around it, was fine. But I don't know if it flies anymore, man. So that's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Hugs, on the other hand, he's been slow on the uptick, so he had a horrible.
Yeah, we have an off limits thing here. Bible thumps for Hugo. If you got like 33rd, I think that's like just low enough and high enough that we can make fun of him.
Mm-hmm.
But like 129th is at that point where like we're just not gonna talk about it.
Yeah, it's got him bad. He's not a top 40 player anymore. He's not.
He's not a what?
He's not a top 40 player anymore. He's not
40?
Yeah, I don't think he is.
Like 4-0.
I think 4-0. Yeah.
Oof. Damn.
I think I can name 40 players who I can.
I mean, he's taking sets off of like SFAT, PPU. What's 40 these days? Is it safe to say KG is just like 35 ish?
KGH is close to there. Yeah, KGH is probably better than him right now, man.
35.
KGH is probably like around 40, right?
Okay. Here's the best thought experiment. Would you pick DG Nintendo or Hugs?
Don't make me do this to Hugs.
Okay, Mike Hayes or Hugo. Who would you draft? Mike Hayes is about 40, right? Maybe 40, 45, maybe 35 on certain panels.
I would actually take Mike. I would take. I would take Hugo. I think, even now.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, but it's close. And DJ,
but you thought twice though.
I think DJ. I might take DJ. I don't know. It's close. It's all really close.
The fact that it's a degree question, right? Because you say like Mango, or Mike, you're gonna go Mango like in a heartbeat, but you had to think about it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna say Hugo to both those questions just because I feel bad, but yeah, I think the whole chat's saying Mike, which is sad. But it's gotten bad, man. You know, it's look. You could nowadays. There's so many good players that have come up that like even if you look at old SSBM ranks, like there's like sure Mike Hayes was 40 before, but I think he might even be lower now because guys like Dizkid have really moved up, right?
Yeah.
There's people who've been outplacing each other. So it's really hard to justify on his end, you know. There's guys like you can't take. So I pulled the SSBM rank up right now just to. Mike is exactly 40 before, but again, guys like this kid have moved up. I wouldn't take Hugs over Professor Pro.
Got
or
to.
I wouldn't take him over Chudat. I wouldn't take him over Gravy. I would take Gravy right now. I wouldn't take him over Wobbles for sure.
Got to.
Gatsu. I think I take Hugo. KJ.
Gatsu's had a pretty solid year, and he won the head-to-head.
Maybe it's man. What about like there's none?
No, I'm definitely taking none. How about like the infinite numbers?
None, right? Yeah. Not infinite numbers. I don't take infinite numbers. Let's not do him dirty.
He had a pretty good run.
Here's another question. Do you take Hugo or do you take Drug Fox?
Do I take Hugo or Drug Fox?
Yeah.
I take Drug Fox.
Oh, you're probably right. But like, that one's close too. Drug Fox is around the 40 level right now, I think.
I don't think he's 40. I think he's like 30.
Is he 30?
He beat Ice.
Oh, he did beat Ice. That was a really good result.
Like, I'd say he's like mid-20s.
He's not mid-20s. Do you realize how many people are in the 20s now? He's like 30 now. He's like 30 right now.
I think that's a little low.
Okay, we're gonna say Drug Fox. I mean, then once you start adding in Europeans, like, is he better than Traphasia right now? Like, or Tech, or all these.
I think I would give him over. I would give him over Tech. Traphasia would be really interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the number of people we listed. Yep. You guys know how Frank.
Okay, so at CEO, side note, he also beat Lucky. So.
Okay, he did beat those people, but either way, I don't know how much it changes my ranking here.
Those are two solid wins. Like if you were to say like,
I think Hugo is top 50, and if you mostly, like you look at all the top 50 players, they always have like 2 or 3 wins against.
But Drug Fox has like many of those good wins.
Yeah, dude, I'm taking Drug Fox. I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying that Hugo is probably around 40 right now.
I think so. I think that because last year we kind of felt the same way, and then that Evo run like boosted him really high.
There's a guy who was ranked 20th just a few months ago. Just a good 6.5 months ago, he was ranked 20th. This might be one of the biggest drops we've seen, in a 6-month span. To go from number 20 to like all the way down 40, that's hard to do. It's not easy.
Yeah. Who rises? I mean, I think
the biggest rise is Dizkid.
Dizkid?
Yeah, Dizkid's the biggest riser. He was ranked 84th. He's not going to be ranked 84th. He is not going to be ranked 84th.
Yeah. Did you see the notable wins list? Like
his notable wins list is ridiculous.
He has like SFAT, Lucky, Johnny, Muti King. Yeah. He has a pretty nutty list.
All right. Here's the ultimate test. Do you take Hugo, or do you take Chillin?
Has Chillin done anything this year other than Evo?
No, he hasn't. I would still take Hugo.
I would take Hugo.
You still take Hugo, but that result was good for Chillin. And for the most part, I think like Zane and MDVA is like starting to beat everybody. Apparently, that's what Mahone keeps telling me.
I got to because my pool was like next to Armada's Smash Gods pool. I got to see a lot of Zane. Pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah, but Chillin is still one of the greatest rappers of all time. So
Yeah,
let's not put him down like that.
I think he's still in SoCal. I don't know what he's doing here.
Is he sick?
So's none. So Saturday is going to be interesting with the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, and while we're at it, I guess let's see, top 8. I've never seen. I think this is like probably one of the biggest choke jobs I've ever seen from Mango in my life.
You think so?
Maybe not in losers, but in winners. If you're going to tell me Mango was up on game 1, and he was up 4 stocks to 2 on Plup, and you would pretty much say, okay, he's got this, but he lost.
Yeah.
He lost with a game lead and a 2-stock lead in game 2. Not only did he lose, he lost the set.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But I will say in losers, which is sometimes where I view Mango's runs the most. He's lost H-Box, right? Like, there's nothing else, right? He's lost. Is there any other way of analyzing it? He played pretty.
I mean, I think I talked to Hungrybox, just to get his perspective on it. And he was like, yeah, like game 1, like I figured like he was going to play a little bit aggressive, so I wanted to feel him out. And in game 2 and 3, I figured it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. That rest, if he teched it, he would have been a legend, and that would have been sick.
And then he gets it up smashed, and it's like last stock, and he's at 60 or whatever.
Yeah, on Stadium, that could just be up throw up air. It'd be crazy. So, yeah, like that would have been cool, but yeah.
We have to talk about.
It sucks to say because I haven't talked to him ever since he lost. Armada thankfully ended up going to the Twitch party, so like at least was able to talk to him a little bit. Hopefully, cheered him up a little bit. Mango, I know it looked like he took that loss really badly.
How's his general demeanor? He was trying to just not think about it, right?
Yeah, dude, I was talking to like the other people from the other esports at Twitch, like asking them how they deal with it. And the impression I've gotten is that yes, people get sad when they lose, but no one seems to get quite as sad as our Melee top players.
Dude, that top 8 photo looked really.
Like, what's going on? Like, why? What about our game makes them so sad?
I mean, I think it's a pretty leading question, right? We love our game. They love to win. I mean, it's an individual game, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all on you. You don't have anybody else to rely on. You can't say that my mid blew it by giving 2 solo kills, so we had no chance of winning. Like, if you lose, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah. But even then, like, that's true about Street Fighter. That's true about Smash 4. I'm sure they get sad too, but that Smash 4 top 8 didn't look quite as sad to me. That Street Fighter top 8 didn't look quite like this, like.
Yeah, but these are people that were like this even before the money.
Yeah.
Like they would fume.
Money. I know it's not the money because they're like this. They're just like this. I do think that ever since events have gotten bigger, and their life has basically become more and more Smash, it's gotten worse. Like, this is the saddest they've ever been.
It was pretty bad.
So I don't. Maybe I'm crazy because I don't know the other scenes as well as I know Smash. Though I do know them pretty well, but our top players get more sad than any competitor I've ever seen. Like,
it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, man. Like, I don't want to do losers interviews anymore. I feel like after tournaments, we should do a winners interview. We shouldn't do a second or third place interview anymore.
You know what?
Guys destroyed. They don't want to talk to anybody. They just want to go home.
So I was running around with the camera crew with Yahoo, and Travis was like, "Who can you talk to after this event?" I scanned the top 8 line. I'm just like, Travis, I probably can't do anyone but Hungrybox and maybe Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin was fine. It's
Kevin was
funny. It was
happy.
like a line of everybody with Kevin on one end and HBox on the other end. Two, two smiling people, and then the rest were just like they were so sad. You know, maybe like my theory on it, my melee elitist view on it, my you know melee exceptionalism view on it is
Okay.
that I think that the top players and the whole community respects melee as a game so much. They do love the game really that much, and they respect and understand what it means to accomplish anything in this game so much. That's why it tears them apart. And yes, some would say, well, don't the top players in other games? That might be true, but it also might not be true. They might not love their game quite like our guys love our
Yeah.
game, and want to win quite like our guys want to win. Because seriously, it's very hard to talk to them. They're just destroyed. It's really sad to see. It tears me up, man.
It was it's interesting because I mean I've seen a few instances like there's one tragic moment if I were to kind of digress a little. League of Legends last summer, top 3 teams from each region gets to Worlds.
Mhm.
And Team Liquid literally had like 3 chances to get in, and they blew it. And then finally, after like the third best of whatever set, like they lost, their mid laner and their AD carry just collapsed, and just like you couldn't pick them up. They were in tears for losing.
New Deal says, "LOL, it's just a game, bro." No deal, you don't get it, homie. This thing is life. And there's a part of that's their career, but like these are the life goals of these guys at the end of the day. This is like their dreams. It's a stadium event. Like I know you were probably being sarcastic when you said that, but like this is
No,
it's.
Nodier is like the most like sarcastic troll. Like I think, yeah,
I love him. I love him. I love him. I love
yeah.
him. I just want to respond to that question. That statement. So yeah, I also know that like when I look at some other esports, so I asked this to one of our League of Legends guy in the office, and he said, "Well, in the American scene, everyone knows that the Koreans in League of Legends are better. So even when you win, you're not really best in the world. You're
Yeah.
best in NA, and when you're going to go to Europe and you're going to go to Korea
World.
and Worlds, and you're just going to get stomped, right? So, um, in many ways, that tempers their disappointment, naturally. And there is another aspect of it, at least in the Eastern cultures. I think they get sad, but maybe they don't show it as much, right? Or they like on stage. I haven't seen.
They don't do it on stage, but culturally speaking, behind doors, it goes into a full out.
Yeah, yeah. So I think maybe that's part of it too. Is like what games which have Eastern players as their best players, like let's say a Street Fighter or a League of Legends or whatever. They don't openly show how sad they are and how much they don't want to be there. They'll do the loser interview and then get out and then cry at home. But not our guys. Our guys let you know.
They wear their hearts on their sleeves.
Yeah,
For better or worse, that's what our competitors are.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Gotta give
we saw all the homies be extraordinarily sad for our entertainment. Um, and just HBox and Pew Pew be happy. One thing we should mention while we're doing this discussion is Westball's run. Uh, yes, he finished at 7th, which like if you are keeping track, that's actually roughly his ranking in the world. So it's not like it's unexpected. But the run he had to do is really what's impressive. He lost a duck, frankly, an expected loss at this rate. And it started conversations of, hey, Westballs is on the downswing. Is he going to get 25th here? Blah, 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 because he had to go against SFAT and losers. And many people were just, nodding their head like, yeah, West, it hasn't been going good, man. It's been rough. It's been a rough patch. after such a good year in 2015 and going into 2016, even starting a little, okay. He's had bad performance, him along with Axe, just a little bit of a slide. Um, and then he comes through in losers bracket of top 32, and he just goes against, I would say, not only really hard opponents for their place in the bracket, but also really hard opponents for him. You know, he played against Sweet Delight to make top 8. Sweet Delight, everyone knows, is a Sheik, so he's bad against it, and also someone he's just really negative against, like in the last few months in lifetime. He has not been able to be Swedish. He plays
Yeah.
against an ice climber in Nintendo. That should be an auto loss for West if you just look at it historically, right? And he beats him with Falco? What?
And then
SFAT,
Axe and SFAT are top 10 arguable players.
top 10 players. Many would take Axe to beat West. Now, who knows? SFAT, he's been on a hot streak. You saw what he did as CEO. Some people would have taken him to beat West even. But dude, he just did it. He went through this is the most impressive 7th place I've ever seen, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this could have easily been like I just lost a duck and I'm going to peace out in 25th.
Yeah, right? Like, in the end of the day, he got 7th, but he got 7th beating SFAT Axe, the Nintendo Swedish alike. That's really, really good. So I don't know, man. I thought that was super impressive. His set with Axe, also one of the best sets of the event. I recommend everyone watch that. That was like super tight, super close. I know Axe wasn't happy about it. He started facing a bit of frustration now. Having to face down some of these losses and these results that he's been having. So it kind of sucks for him. But going back to West Balls, really, really good, man. Like, I think this rights the wagon a little bit. Oddly enough, when he went into that top 8, he played against an opponent he was favored against. So he went against arguably 4 people he's not favored against, or equal to.
What kind of odds would you have to take to bet on Johnny?
Dude, most people would have said 5-1. Actually, I hadn't beaten him in forever. And there's a lot of results behind it. It's a lot of SSSs.
Yeah.
He just can't. He couldn't do it. It wasn't a thing that Johnny could do. And the matchup, everyone knows it. West is known to be the best of that matchup in the world. Maybe the best player against Falcon, period, in the world. If you're a Falcon player, you play West in bracket, you're very sad. And so most people thought, hey, we're about to go into a top 8 at EVO. This is one of the first sets on screen. There's no way a nervous Captain Falcon is going to be able to beat West Balls Falco. It's just not going to be possible. People were already pegging West to move on to the next round. It was like a bye. And that's literally not what happened. The opposite happened. West lost, 0-2. So
Definitely we didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. So we're talking about Johnny. I don't think has beat West since late 2014.
So like my Tapo stats only go back to like late 2014, and I haven't found a set. I would have to look earlier than that.
Yeah. Like, we're basically talking about their record in like the early era SSSs, like 1 through 25 or something, 1 through 20. It wasn't that bad. It was still West advantage, but like Johnny took sets, right? So it's not like Johnny has never done it before. He has done it before in those early era SSSs. But the 25 SSSs after that,
oh my gosh, it was so bad.
He's been losing we're talking about like every other weekend, guys. Like it's been bad. And somehow the set that matters the most at EVO main stage top 8, he stomps him off stage for edge guard to do an edge guard. So Johnny went nuts.
And Johnny's run was impressive too because he started the exact same spot in losers as West Balls. Just right in losers round of 48, Johnny lost to Swedish and then had to make it all the way.
A set against Swedish that many would say he should have won or could have won at the very least, because that was super close.
But it's kind of funny because and in his losers bracket run was Fruit Loop, Javi, Drug Fox, Deck, West Balls.
Yeah, I mean, not easy by any means. I haven't seen the Javi set yet. I heard that was recorded. So
It was pretty bad.
did Johnny win badly?
A 3 stock and a 2 stock.
Oh man. So
You know who else we have to talk about? Zoo.
we do have to talk about Zoo. Where did that come from?
Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I mean, I don't think I would have favored him in any of these matches in losers.
Yeah, I mean the one that really like was eye popping to me was the shootout one. I think I talked about earlier.
And like you've watched him, right? He plays against Fly Amanita, and we're just like, oh, like he's gonna. You guys counterpicked us when we did NorCal SoCal with Fly, and that was disastrous.
Yeah, like basically, if there's a crew battle, NorCal SoCal, one of the things that has historically given SoCal the advantage is that we use Fly against Zoo. It's like that bad. He's just he's notorious for being horrible at the matchup, and pretty much losing every ice climber that he goes against. And yet, he plays the matchup probably better than any Falco I've ever seen in a set against Chu. He played really well. I don't know if he's been studying it or whatever, but
I think it was confident. I mean, I think I've never seen Zoo this confident in my life.
dude, he had a run, dude. Like he just, it felt like we both of you and I have been in the room when we've seen Zoo do his little Zoo confidence and his own self hype, where he's just like feeling himself doing a bunch of nods and then like go yeah, like the Zoo.
And he puts his like fist up.
Dude, I felt like we were back in '08 again. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I looking at a top 10 player in the world? Because that's what Zoo was, right?
I mean, certainly during the Genesis 1 era, like he was top 10, I would say.
Dude, I really wish that me and you one day go through and do like a retroactive SSBM rank. At least for like top 20 of other eras. Because I feel like I talk to kids nowadays and they don't know that Zoo was like a top 10 player for a long time.
He was really good. Like,
or that Cactuar was a top 20, top 10 player potentially.
He was a top 10 player. So that Genesis crew, the 3 powerhouses on each side. Granted, not everybody was there. It was Mewtwo King, J-Man, and Shiz in Cactuar were like the powerhouses of the East Coast at that time that you guys were banking on to win. We were relying on Zoo, Cactuar, and Mango.
Yeah, exactly. Zoo was a monster, and I mean he never really stopped being a monster. He still has one of the greatest legacies ever. This one definitely helps. I don't know. We haven't made a legacy list either, but Zoo's career's got legs too, man. He's been a top 10 player, was for a very strong era, and ever since then he's been a top 30 player. Right? Not bad. And 9th place at Evo sure isn't shabby.
Yeah, considering he had to be Lottie Chu Lucky to get in.
Yeah, and the Lucky one was definitely a huge upset as well. Like, did you expect that to happen?
I thought like Lucky was just going to destroy Zoo. Like I was just like, okay, like I thought Chu was going to destroy Zoo. I thought Lottie was going to beat Zoo.
I thought Mega was going to destroy Zoo, and Zoo put up quite a fight.
Yeah, I mean he was up. What was it, 2 stocks and won the games, and then ended up not winning. But
yeah, but it was respectable.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I just, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm really happy for him. I think that he proved a lot of people wrong. He reminded people just, how good he is. And most of all, we just talk about 2 Falcos. And who would have thought that the Ice Climber's legacy in Evo, the prophecy of always there being an Ice Climber in top 8, would get stopped by Falco of all characters. Falco is a character that Ice Climbers beats. Sure, you can talk about matchup charts and theoretics and what you can do all of that. But I'm talking about win-loss ratio of 2 characters side by side all time.
Yeah.
And if you really broke it down, it's probably an 80% win rate for the top Ice Climbers. The top Ice Climbers always beat the top Falcos. It's just a thing, right? Whether it's nerves or because the Falcons have never really known the matchup, blah, blah, blah. You can explain it away, but Ice Climber against Falco has just been a thing for a very long time. And Chu and Nintendo go down to Falcos of all things, and Falcos who are known to not be good at the matchup in West and Zoo. And then the Falcos go on to get 9th and 7th. Not bad, man. Not bad for a character who's been struggling for a little bit.
It's yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of the odds of like what I would give Zoo in each of these sets, and I don't know what would be considered fair.
Yeah, it would be a lot, right? Like so, he found found the small percentage chance. You know, the people would have given him like probably less than 5% to make ninth place. Uh, Probably way less than that. And he found it. He found that path. So
Definitely.
big props to Zoo. Lots of crazy stuff, man. Like this Evo was just jam packed. I love how basically all of top 32 was streamed. The way they set it up with the 2 streams.
Yeah.
So, you guys can just watch like almost everything we're talking about right now.
And pretty soon, most of the matches that weren't on stream are going to be put up online.
Really? On the Evo channel?
Yeah, it's on individual streamers. So what I did was I made a call for streamers, and I think we got 3 recording setups.
I see.
So in theory, I think everything should have gone on a recording.
Yeah, I don't really understand why Evo doesn't upload their stuff. I don't really get it. Smasha Gray or whatever is getting all these views. Does that channel monetize? Who knows, man?
I don't remember seeing commercials.
Maybe not. But that's I always say support the content creators. In this case, Evo, but they don't even upload there, so I don't understand.
It's a lot. What's your perspective on it? Like, how long do you think before they let's say you try to contact them and they don't even contact you back on whether or not they're gonna put it up on YouTube? What do you think is a fair line before you go yeah, screw it. Somebody who really wants to do it, just put up the sets.
I mean, people did it really quickly this time because we know they just historically just don't do it, and they haven't for the last 4 years, 4+ years. So that's different, but I generally think you should at least wait 2 weeks, right? So I don't know. I don't view there being a YouTube VOD as necessarily that important anymore. Especially with there's Twitch VODs. You can just watch the VOD there, right?
Yeah.
So
But Twitch VOD, it's 11 hours.
That's the problem, right?
To navigate and find the match or go back 10 seconds is so annoying.
It is super annoying. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm never in the favor of people ripping content off, so I'm never going to endorse it.
Yeah.
But
fair.
Evo just doesn't give people much choice. So and it doesn't seem they care. They care. I don't know.
Fair. Let's see. Is there anything else worth noting? I did compile some what I consider to be big upsets. West Bowl's beating Swedish being one of them. Chillin' used to, historically have a positive record on Tendude, but lost. Lucky beating Wizrobe for the first time this year.
Yeah, that was a big one.
PPU went beating Shroomed, which hasn't happened in a really long time.
Can we talk about the Wizrobe's performance?
Yeah.
Is this officially a step back?
How
bad are we? He still got 13th?
17th, I believe.
17th?
Lucky got 13th.
Lucky got 13th, that's right. And Zoo got 9th. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to punish him too hard. I think the Chillin' one is the one that, of course, you'd punish him more for, but it is 2 best of 3s. I don't know how far you can take the result, how badly you can punish him for it. But if you're going to argue against him being top 10, this would be the one that you point to.
Yeah. It's tough to say, man. I think other than this, is Lucky really that bad of a loss?
Yeah. And again, I do want to emphasize the best of 3s. I think that, especially once you go outside the top, 8-ish, it gets a little bit hazy, with the way the format is. So. Poe Nub says Falcon benefits for best of 3. Sometimes in some matches.
I think the stages benefit, but Wizzy tends to do good in best of 5s as a player.
Right. Another thing we should note is how good SUJ does on Fountain. So that protects him. He doesn't even ban it in best of 3s.
He actually thinks that Yoshi's might be lamer, in his words.
Yeah, and also I don't know the stage data, but just generally, just as well on Fountain. It's just always feels like every time I look, he wins there. Um, so, I think he made the right choice against West. He didn't ban it, for example, and won there. So
I like
that's
Johnny on Fountain.
yeah. I mean that's one of like his strong points. Like, if you want to argue him as a Falcon comparative to Wizrobe or Nunn or whoever, you one of the big points to use is, well, Johnny's the one that's uh, he's better on more stages than those other guys. Wizard often needs the big stage.
Yeah, he needs Dreamland. Um,
He really does.
but it's good stuff to him. I think for people that are kind of wondering, I because that's probably going to get asked because we talked about two Falcon players. I do think that Wizzy still has a better overall um, year.
Yeah, even with fifth at Evo, I think Wizzy's year is better. It's still better.
I
Johnny
think
didn't beat a god. Like, he did beat West, which is really, really, really impressive, but he didn't beat a god.
he just needs to he needs like one or two solid performances that are better than Wizzy for the kind of him to tie. I think that's not unreasonable, right?
Yeah,
Given what Wizzy's done this year.
yeah. I mean, Wizzy just 3-0'd H-Box, the best player in the world. We just called him. Like, you can't. Let's not forget. So,
Yeah. It was a clean 3-0 too.
but he did lose to Chillin' Dude. So
So yeah, that's like my thoughts on Falcon. Other upsets, Wobbles, Javi did look pretty good against Wobbles, beating him. Wobbles,
Wobbles,
struggled.
Wobbles not the best run.
It kind of brings in an interesting discussion that's kind of been brewing, but like no one's really been picking up because it's Ice Climbers. But Nintendo, Diskid, Chew, and Wobbles, it's hard. I haven't put much thought into it, but I think I would have to put a lot to see like who has the best 2016.
Ooh, that's a hard one, right?
It's really hard. I mean,
And I think it's still probably Wobbles because of Battle of the Five Gods. Like, it's just such a big outlier.
but like he also got like 90 something or 120 something at Genesis.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, that's
He
true.
lost to ESAM.
And he only got 25th here.
Yeah.
So, if only Wobbles performed as well as he does at his peak everywhere else, then we'd have a bit better conversation. But it's yeah, he's an enigma. So the ice, it's a good era for ice climbers, though. I still say I think that's a lot of big names, to have.
But dude, that's four players that you can argue that are in the top 25.
And if and when Fly continues to get more active, that's going to be 5 players.
And we don't know what infinite numbers is, potential is either.
Yeah. So
Like infinite numbers, like like he's actually really good.
yeah, I think he's pretty good for sure.
I wonder
Um,
if he upset anybody. He upset Ladandis, I think, in winners.
for sure, for sure. So who's going to SmashCon?
What's that?
Who's going to SmashCon?
SmashCon. So I know that Muta King and Hungrybox are confirmed, and it's like a bunch of like top 20 players that are going. I don't know if any of the other big six.
Is Mango going?
Um, Not according to like any update tweets. So Hungrybox, Muta King, Plup, Axe, Westbowl, Shroomed, Lucky, SFAT, Wizzy, Ice, Kobol, S2J, Nintendo, MacD, Yamsa, Chew, Swedish, PPU, Wobbles, Hug, Zoo, Moon.
Sounds like another opportunity for Plup to win a major.
Yeah,
You know?
I give him like a 10% chance at winning.
Yeah, absolutely. He probably has. Yeah, yeah, he could win. Very heavy favorite for H-Box, if that's the actual attendance list. So we'll see. We'll see if Mango goes. That'd be big. But
Maybe he
that's
just commentates again.
yeah, that's what he did last time, right?
Yeah, try casting.
That was fun.
So what do we take from Mingo after this?
What do we take for Mango?
Like in
I mean,
Evo.
look, he's still third in the world. I think this was roughly an equivalent result. It just sucks because he just went with the Fox, and he wanted to use that momentum, and he really wanted 3-0. But it's hard, man. It's not easy. It's never easy.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's rough, dude. He took the loss hard. He knows he's gonna have to wait a whole another year for it. But good news is at the rate we're going, we're never gonna be off Evo.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have a lot more chances.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
So I mean, I can't think of like anything else. I mean, if there's any other kind of underlying storylines, it's like you can kind of make the debate is who's better, Florida or SoCal.
Oh, don't do that. Why would we do that debate?
What was that?
I don't want to do that debate.
I mean, I think that's an interesting underlying storyline that's kind of booming
Is it
out.
interesting, Tafo?
I think a lot of people have regional pride. You know, people always say, is SoCal better? Is Florida better? How's NorCal? Like, NorCal probably has the best
I don't
10v10.
think you're quite understanding what I'm trying to say.
What was
It's
that?
not interesting to me, is what I should say.
It's not interesting to you?
Because I don't think I'll like the answer.
You don't like the answer?
No. No. And HBox isn't even Florida, so screw you.
Do we count Meat King as Florida then?
Well, if we don't, it's better than counting HBox. So, if that's the trade we got to make,
What if they got Meat King and $100?
then again, I don't want to have this discussion because I don't like the answer.
Because it'd be like HBox Meat King.
SoCal is the best region in the world, Tappakins.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Moving on. It's a Wonderful Life. So let's see, what else do we have this summer? You know, we have SmashCon in 2 weeks. We have Shine in I think 2 more weeks after that.
SmashCon 2 weeks. Shine in weeks, a few weeks after that.
Are you going to Beth?
September is Super Dead, and then there's Big House, and then a lot of deadness. So yeah, unless more things get announced, and they will very likely will.
You already know that something's being announced.
I never said anything.
I assume that you have something, but I won't goad you into saying anything.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, fine, that's fair. But I know you know of stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
There will also very likely be another Smash Summit.
They already announced it.
They did it by accident. Yes, they accidentally announced something.
And that's probably in like November, December, and then we have DreamHack Winter in December, right? Or November, end of November.
DreamHack Winter. You're right. DreamHack Winter is gonna be good. So that's gonna come up. Yeah, September is really the month that's really lacking. So with that,
I don't know, man. You tell me.
see now everyone's in the chat freaking out about KOC. Chill out, guys. I'm too lazy for that. You guys should know that by now. Look at me. Do I look like a guy who TOs anymore?
Yeah.
Chill out.
I mean, you kind of do it for people already.
I actually go around the country and TO. No.
I guess the better question is, are you an event organizer anymore, right? Because you TO all the time, whether you like it or not.
Because I have to go into events and fix what all these kids, mess up. So I'm sick of it. Sick of all this incompetence, Tapplegans. So, there is also Air 3 coming up. A lot of good events, man. On the calendar. It's crazy. The real guy who camps says, Blur, a washed TO? You're saying I'm washed up? I'm still the best to ever do it. So chill out.
You're so funny.
I'm not being funny. But all right.
We do need a SoCal regional. I'm too lazy to do it because I have too much on my plate.
Yeah. So someone's got to step up.
They,
But anyway, do you want to take viewer questions?
yeah, of course. I think we have like at least 12 in the queue already.
Guys, look at Ask FM.
All right, let me go into the questions. Let's see. How could I begin playing competitive Melee if I'm a total scrub and can barely control my character? I can wave dash kinda consistently, but since I'm used to buffering in Smash 4, lots of my inputs don't come out. You just gotta keep playing. Just kind of get used to movement and moving around, and you have to put in a lot of time to get that down.
Hard work, homie. You gotta grind. Gotta be obsessed. You gotta be obsessive about this game if you're gonna get anywhere.
But
So.
once you pass that certain moment where you can like kind of move without thinking about moving, it gets really fun. So painful now, but it does get better.
All right, next question.
Has there ever been a greater test of mindset in Melee than Hungrybox's win at Evo? Taking out a bracket playing at their peak, plus Armada, hardest player to do this against since maybe himself, in 2 sets, plus the largest audience, plus being down 7+ times, plus audible commentary, plus being ranked if he was ranked number 1 if he wins this.
Yeah, there's probably ones that are harder situations, but it's up there, man. I think and I said this on Twitter when it happened. The first set, the reset, that's probably the clutchest moment in our game's history. He was at like some crazy percentage. Armada did played super safe. That's the funny part. Armada played safe. Armada played like careful for like a full like 3 minutes at the time, and HBox just didn't get hit. Continued to play his game and found the openings slowly, just won over and over again. He won neutral like so many times in 3 minutes, and then finally got the rest when he found his opportunities. To me, that's really impressive. In terms of like what is the hardest win ever.
I think the Mango Pound 3 run also has to get put up there too.
Yeah, someone brought up Leffen at Gommel. I think that was a really high level of difficulty run. He beat every god, and this when he just came back, like without being able to practice because of visa issues. That's a super impressive win to me. So that's a recent result, but that's up there. I also think that we're talking about the old MLGs used to do what was it, best of 11s with like PC versus Ken. That's a marathon, man. So yeah, there's some really hard wins in time. This game's old.
Yeah,
but
I mean
it's up there.
Yeah, I think Mango Pound 3 is also up there too. A lot of game 3s, he had to play Fox that he wasn't really familiar with at the time to just get past certain players.
Yeah, but so like Mewtwo and Kind just gave it to him in grand finals.
Like how do you deal with Corneria twice? How do you deal with greens against Fox?
Yeah. He did. So I guess that's to his credit, but that grand final was very close.
All right.
He never had to clutch it against Mewtwo King, though he wasn't favored to win at all. It still actually ended up not being close.
He wasn't favored to win a lot of those sets.
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a few people argue Mango of number 2 over Armada, which you and Blair disagree or agree. I think we covered that pretty well. I think Armada still has it, but I don't think Armada is as invincible as people make him out to be.
Yeah. I think that there's a good argument to be had for Mango, but Armada still got second at Evo, and that really keeps him in the game. Yes, Armada's record against the other top 4 isn't good, but he's better against the non-gods and gets upset less, and he still gets those big Ws like Genesis and Summit. And though Mango won with the Fox, I still don't think it really pushes him quite above Armada yet. I think one more result like that, if like let's say he won a SmashCon, then yeah, Mango would be number 2.
Yeah. Um, gosh, kind of hate answering these type of questions. Should we take it?
What's the question?
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't see it. How
Do you
would
think the Hyuga incident might discourage sponsors from signing players who are known to drink heavily and party hard?
I don't think sponsors are even think about that.
Yeah, I agree. But if you have an incident that
I,
goes that public, then no one's touching you, period.
I could go off on the Hugo stuff, but I don't know if it's the right place to do it. Um, I have a lot of very strong opinions about that particular situation. But we're just gonna let it be.
You saw some of my Facebook messages, right, on that, where I said, like, can we get all sides?
If the chat wants it, I can go on a little rant about it. But
No, I think we could do it for a separate talk. People are here for analysis, right?
analysis, yeah. Let's just
All right.
leave it. I don't want to rant.
Okay.
But I would get very.
We'll make a separate video, right? We can do a separate short on it.
Everyone says no, don't do this, so we're just gonna,
Okay. That's fine. I agree.
Let's not.
All right. Any advice for a team of TOs looking to host their first large regional? 128 player cap, $500 pop bonus.
My first piece of advice is why the hell do you have a pop bonus? What does that do for you? Why? It's probably coming out of your pocket, isn't it? You saved up some cash and then you're putting a $500 pop bonus. It's not good for sustainability, homie. Don't do a pop bonus.
And 128 player cap. This is 2016, so that I don't consider that to be a large regional.
No, that's actually a small local. No, it's not a small local. But
let's put it this way. Presumably, you guys have probably ran 20 to 40 man locals. Just have a team of people. Make sure you guys are on the same page. Make sure you have setups. It's just pretty much like a glorified local at this point.
Yeah, it's baby's first tournament. 128 is really easy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make these guys be unprepared and underestimate what they need to do. It's really important. My advice is to think about growth when you're doing this stuff. It's obvious that if you're thinking about stuff like pop bonuses, you're at least thinking about growth, but you're probably thinking about the wrong way. Try to set up your event so that there's a storyline, so that your stream viewership can get maximized. So try to promote it the right way. Make a TOing content schedule that really matches to it, so that hey, when you have your next one, it goes from 128 to maybe 200 or whatever, because you've built on what you have now. Effectively, try to leave the event with as much legacy as you can. Make sure this one gets a reputation, and not just another weekend.
Yeah.
So,
what are your current lifts at? I bench 185, which is pretty cool.
You guys think I lift? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Have you looked at me lately? No, dude.
It's fair. Is it fair to say Mango's second best right now? It's kind of this is because Mango's lowest placing was 4th, and he has a winning record against Armada. No, we'll move on.
So Frat Bro and Chan says, how many setups do you have in your wagon? I don't have a wagon, but if you're talking about the vault is about 120 CRTs now, and it has about 40 plus Wii U setups. Plus, it's got consoles, it's got headsets, it's got it all, man. So the Vault project from a few years back ended up really working. It ended up being one of the greatest things I've ever done for the community. So yeah, it's pretty big. They're all Tritrons. Well, most of them are Tritrons. There's some mixed in.
All right, we have another question. Armada's Fox is down against Leffen and Mango and tied with $100 this year. What should he do going forward for the matchups that he relied on Fox for last year?
I mean, I think he only needs Fox against H-Box. He's going to use it in other matchups, but he's going to lose. He can't use it against Mango and Leffen anymore. I firmly believe that.
I agree. I think I think what people tend to forget is that you're tying with the best player right now. Like that's not bad.
Yeah. So I think Fox against H Fox is what he's got to do, unless he wants to bring back the Young Link.
I think
And
it'd be good as like a one game gimmick.
I think the Young Link he's got to consider it on some stages, right? Like Dreamland, isn't Dreamland Young Link going to be better almost always?
His Fox doesn't do bad though on
This
Dreamland.
guy H Box ended up not wanting to go there in their set, so maybe you're right.
I don't think it would be needed for Dreamland.
What about Battlefield?
What was that?
What about Battlefield?
I think Battlefield would be the stage, if anything.
High top platform, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe he doesn't want to switch characters mid set, so maybe he doesn't want to do that. But I think he's got to start thinking about Young Link again, at least a little bit, a little bit. He doesn't have to go all the way with it. You could try for one game, and relearn it. But the Fox hasn't been doing well, man. It's just not been a good year for Armada Fox. I think we said 6-10, but I would love to know the game count difference between the Peach and the Fox because it doesn't feel like the Peach is losing much still. Am I right?
Um, I mean, it's really tough to say. Against Mango, it's closer, but most of the games he's won as Peach were earlier in the year. So I'm not sure if it's a time dependent thing or a character related thing. Both variables kind of play equally if I were to kind of look at correlation and causation.
Yeah. It'd be funny if in 2016 we see Young Link versus Ness again in a serious match. That'd be good times.
Yeah. Is Miam doing another summer SSBM rank? Unfortunately, I'm just way too swamped to take on a project that big.
So no.
Yes. Or no. I say yes to affirm Crimson Blur. No.
It's one of those things that would be nice to do. But I mean, honestly, I think there's more merit in doing like retroactive SSBM ranks for the other years, or if we did another legacy list, because those to me are even more interesting discussions at this point than filling out one right now. You know.
Yeah. I think those would be interesting.
Those are two really good projects, in my opinion.
What are your thoughts on DM? Oh gosh, do I want to answer this? Okay.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on DM Brandon and his involvement in the Smash community?
Oh, me and DM get along. We're fine. So I mean, whatever. I think his video is, for the most part, right. He is correct. One point that I wish he brought up more is it's less undercutting if you look at the commentator scene. By the way, guys, we're talking about a video where he basically talks about how poorly Smash commentators get paid and all that. I disagree with the general assertion that Smash commentary is bad. I actually think that, and I'm one of the commentators, so I might be biased. I actually think Smash commentary is one of the best of any esports. I really, even with their bright lights and crap, and we have a lot of commentary tech skill we all need to improve upon for sure. I think the actual personality that comes on screen is actually really good. And I've heard many other scenes be jealous of the talent list that we have. We have like 10 plus guys who are like really, really solid. So I disagree with him on that in particular. But he is right that people don't know what they're worth. People don't ask for compensation enough. There is undercutting, but even more than the undercutting, the biggest problem we have right now, and I can take full responsibility for that, and others can as well, is that we've had basically the only reason we have any talent at events at all, but we say talent, but we mean commentators, is because Twitch flies them out. So our 4 of our most popular casters are flown out to events by Twitch, not by the actual event. So housing and travel are at least covered for. And then usually, I mean, we're all doing pretty okay with our job. We don't really care enough to negotiate money, which is not smart by us, but like we don't care about the pennies, is the honest truth, right?
Yeah.
And like, look, I think we're all slowly realizing that what that's causing is then the next tier of guys can never get paid. As long as me, Scar, Toph, D1 are willing to, work at low to no prices, um, it's very difficult for Brandon, Phil, Webbs, whoever to go and ask for money, right? So I think that's also hurting the scene a lot. I think at the top, some of our top level guys, including myself, are holding back commentator pay, even though events actually have budget for it nowadays. The events do have budget for at least some commentator pay, definitely better than we've been seeing in the past. It's been getting a little bit better, but it's one of my focuses over the next like year or so. Our commentators deserve a little bit better than what's going on right now.
I think for the most part, it's something we haven't considered because, like, once again, you kind of alluded to, um, a lot of the commentators have full-time jobs, so like we're not. This isn't the make or break. Are we going to pay rent? Where for a guy like TK or EE, I'm not sure what their work status is, but like their lives depend on that commentator's paycheck.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, no, and absolutely. And realistically, I think that yes, there is a big subset of people who are willing to commentate Smash um, for cheap. But I think one thing we've seen and undercut, right? Like the point he was making is one thing we've seen consistently, especially in the Reddit era, is that those people get flamed to high heaven nowadays. Like Smash players, for better or for worse, are only taking a few, like, will only accept those few notable names, and otherwise are just gonna complain, complain, complain. And
dude, imagine if I got Evo top 8.
yeah, even you did. When you do commentary, sometimes you get some hate, right? Like,
dude, if I got, imagine how, like if you told the stream like right now that I'm doing top 8, like at like Evo or something, there would immediately be a thread petitioning me to take me down.
yeah. So poor Tafo, but yeah, Smash are really really picky about it. So and I think people know that. I think events know that to a degree. I do think that some events have been extremely extremely naive and about how they pick their commentators. Like they don't pick their commentators, or they put very little thought into it. And they pretty much put anyone on, and that's just sad to me. Sometimes it's a budget concern, but when it's not, it's sad. And yeah, like it's tough to say, but there's going to come a point where casters are going to have to say no. I will not work for this price, and kind of take to the chin, which is where I struggle because I care about growing Smash so much, and I like commentating so much that I really don't like saying no to events. I'm gonna go anyway because I have like a million other duties usually at events than just casting. And I want to be with the homies. And I like casting, so I genuinely, it's one of those jobs that I genuinely would do for free, but
we're hurting ourselves in the long run.
I don't think I'm hurting myself, but I can see how it would hurt other casters, right? And how it can change the economy of it all. So we just got to be a little bit smarter about it.
Yeah.
And the commentators have to start taking a bit of a stand, and it'll happen gradually, right? Our talent situation, our commentary situation, is really really poor. And I think it's interesting that someone that DM made that video to really point it out because it's a hot button issue when you talk about Smash esports to other people from outside. They keep saying, that's one of the number one things I keep hearing from the outside is like, how are the casters really still not getting paid? And the answer is still yes. And the events are big enough now that it's like it's kind of unacceptable.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's going to be something that is always going to be a point of contention, especially now and probably for the next like 3 months. So I'm kind of interested to see like how everything unfolds.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is though, let's say casters start getting paid reasonable sums, right? Like actual.
Well, okay. Can I ask you this? I'm not sure if you're allowed to. If you don't want to, then it's fine. What do you think is considered fair?
Oh, I think what's considered fair is at least 500 a day with hotel travel covered.
Wait, with or without?
With it covered. And that's not even that high. With other esports casters, I mean, it can like if you look at the top 3 esports, they're looking at 10K plus, a day. They really are. Now we can't afford that as a community. We can barely afford the 500. But that's like 500 is like pretty low end, is realistically. Many would say, it should be 1,000 or more a day. But that's what it should be. What it is right now is usually near or close to zero. And it's for some reason hourly sometimes, I just, I would never go to an event and that's necessarily for that much, and I haven't been, but I do think there is some good points with DM's saying, and what we can afford. Some people say, hey, Melee is too small for that. Guys, 500 days is only like $1,500. It's not that much on a Smash scale. Like, just do a little bit of math in your head. Let's say an event has 1,000 attendees, and the entry fee is $60, right? 1,000 entries times $60, that's $60K. $1,500 for talent is not asking for too much.
Yeah, but then you have to buy multiple talent. How many commentators do you have to get out?
You do. So you end up putting aside, let's say, a 10K budget for it, and you pay those guys. Like every esport does that. It's not
10K out of 60K is a lot, considering, like,
yes, you have venue and stuff, right? Yeah.
I mean, most events. It kind of makes me wonder, because, like, is it fair that 1/6 of my venue is going to commentators that doesn't benefit me?
Doesn't benefit you? How does it not benefit you?
No, that's the argument of a person that attends an event. Let's say there's a person that attends.
Let me put it this way: we're already seeing events put up their own personal savings and personal money, or parts of their venue fee money, like when they have excess, right? Let's say an event has more money than they know what to do with. What they usually do is they just randomly put a pop bonus in there, right?
Yeah.
And they don't and they just still skip out on commentary pay. Like that's.
I mean, I disagree with. I mean, I totally agree with that. Like, I think if you're putting pop bonus, like, everything else has to be like A++ before you can convince me that that pop bonus is justified.
So and of course the stuff I said is not including hotel and travel, and frankly that'll never be necessary for like someone like me, because I could just like fly with Twitch. So I don't want to make it sound like that's necessarily the rate we need. I think it's one of those where you look at the event and you honestly evaluate: do they have the money to pay me, or are they do I want to do a favor or whatever, or maybe you don't want to cast it at all. You want to give other people opportunities. For me, I mostly just try to side with what I think is best for the community, and there are times where an event clearly has the budget for it and just won't do it, and that's, I think, when you need to take the stand the most.
So it's kind of an interesting thing with, like, commentary, right? Do you agree with our current model for majors where we're putting on like 20 commentators, or do you think that we should just hire like 4 for a game?
Oh, I mean, I've said this a million times. Frederick Lamar actually asked the question in chat because I've made this complaint to him so many times. We need to shorten our casting list by a long shot. So when I say people are getting paid, let's say 500 a day, what I want from that is not what we have right now, which is our top guy comes in, commentates top 8, and whatever else they want to commentate, it's kind of lax. Like our commentators are divas because they're doing it on a voluntary aspect.
I mean, that's not unreasonable though, right?
It's not unreasonable because it doesn't, like, commentating pools doesn't do much for them other than me, who actually just likes doing it because I'm a fucking weirdo. Most other top guys are like, dude, I'll just commentate top 8 and I want to play for the rest of the day, or I want to chill with my homies for the rest of the day, or maybe I'll do a top 32 slot, but other than that, I'm not going to do it, right? And so they're there and they're commentating 4 hours of the whole event, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, the event shouldn't fly someone out if they're only doing 4 hours, for example, right? I think if someone's going to get paid for it, they're going to have to commentate more hours, and I think most of the commentators are actually ready to do that. They want to commentate more hours, but they just don't want to do it if they're not paid. They're not going to freaking sit there for 10 hours unpaid. So that's where stuff ends up improving the quality of the event.
Yeah.
You start paying them, and then they will do 8 hours, or they will do 10 hours, or they will do a lot more hours, and all of a sudden you shorten your casting list and you improve the quality of your content by like a lot.
Yeah.
By like a lot, right? And all, like, people won't have to listen to crappy local commentators for hours anymore. That's a big deal, right? And we'll start having our staples on for longer, and that's fine. But that's what that money does, guys. The money isn't there just to like, hey, we're all going to get the same content and same quality of, of production, but TOs are just going to make less money. And as you guys all know, TOs don't make money. And it's already bad enough as it is. Adding another thing on their line, their budget, is not going to help anybody, right? That's not going to help.
Yeah.
But I do think this one will actually come back and feed back into the production, feed back into the product you guys see, because the commentators will cast more hours. They're probably going to become better commentators as a result, and we're going to see more full-time guys. We're going to see guys who are not just subsidized by Twitch to do it, right? Like, we're going to see guys who actually like can become full-time casters and like rise through the ranks and can actually travel to do it, right? Like, I want to see guys like Homemade Waffles and Phil actually support it. And I don't think it's right that like the only guys who can really do commentary consistently for Melee have like just a broken Twitch button which they can press and go to events, but no one else can really do it. So yeah, so
I agree. And I mean, because like at CEO, like, I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I was on standby for like 10 to 12 hours of the event, where I didn't even get to do commentary for 6 of those hours, but they wanted me on standby for 12. And it was like, I appreciate the opportunity, but it was actually not a very fun experience, knowing in the back of my head, this is my vacation. Between flight, hotel, and venue and food, I probably paid $900 out of pocket, and I have to spend half my time here that I paid $900 for to be on standby.
yeah. So Sky Knight says if all the top commentators started requiring compensations, this would all happen pretty quick. You're probably right, Sky Knight. Like I said, I think what DM missed in the video is that it's like Smash in a weird situation where like the top guys like genuinely don't care that much because of our main jobs, and so we haven't really like pushed the envelope on it. So I do think that we're holding people back, and we recognize. I think it's starting to become clear to us that it's for Webs, for Homemade Waffles, for Phil, for like those guys who are out there grinding, they need movement on this, so it's important. Or it's never going to happen, right? Like they're just gonna keep going to events at a loss. Like I think it's heartbreaking when you have a guy who's like commentating top 8 and he's paying for his own hotel and his flight, and he's not getting paid to do the event. And oh, by the way, you can't enter the event even though you pay because you're going to be commentating too many hours. Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Like, that's like the guy's just getting screwed everywhere, and people on the internet hate him. So it's like there's that too. Like, there's no winning there.
Yeah, you're just kind of losing everywhere. So I think, well, we have 30 questions, so should we kind of move on from that? It's a good topic, and I think
It's a really good topic.
And I think we could literally just do a side video later on that.
Yeah. Chromo09 says replacement level commentary. To the last point on this, replacement level commentary is going to get better is the issue. I actually disagree. I think the difference between top casting and replacement level, quote unquote, has gotten bigger and bigger with time. I think literally when I watch tournaments now, because the top casters have gotten better, I feel the difference in production more and more when we just have like a random dude on screen. It's and I think most fans would agree with that. I think that gap is going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And the fame and notoriety that those casters bring to an event, it's a big deal if D1's at your Smash 4 event or TK or whatever, and same with some of the Melee stuff. That's going to get bigger and bigger. So that gap is actually, I think, going to get quite big. So continue.
How long can PPMD, Hacks, and Leffen be gone and still be included in the ranking? Leffen certainly attended enough. Hacks has kind of attended things. It would probably take till the end of the year for PPMD and Hacks if they didn't attend anything else. Leffen is pretty safe.
Yeah, I think Leffen's going to stay on it, but I think that PP is not going to be on the list anymore. Hacks unlikely unless he actually comes back. Like he said, like I talked to him at Evo, He says it's getting better, and it'll just take him a few months. So he's going to give it another shot. So we'll see.
Um, can we talk about Axe's drop off? Feels like he didn't have a sick performance since Genesis 3. Maybe even discuss if he's still top 10, undoubtedly.
Oh, he had PAX Arena, so he had that. That was like shortly after. So basically, since January, Axe has been in a huge, huge slump. Probably the worst slump of his career.
PAX Arena was good.
Right. But I'm saying ever since PAX.
Oh, yeah.
Since January. I can't remember a time in his career where he struggled this much. Ever since he became a top 10 player, he pretty much stayed a top 10 player, right?
But to be fair, like this time around, he lost to Shroomed in West Bowls for what, 17th?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, dude, those are the people he's competing against. So he's got to beat those guys if he's gonna stay top 10. That's how it goes, right?
But it's not like he's dropped off. Like he's is Axe top 15? Like
yes, he is.
I mean, like probably at worst like 11.
He's still top 15.
I mean, he beat Leffen. Got like 2 top 8s. It's still like he's still good.
Yeah, and CEO he didn't do that bad, I guess. But he's like, I guess what we want out of him is like not to do bad, not to do adequate, but like to do something like
to like break through.
Yeah, to do something like SFAT this year, or something that Plup did at Evo. Like that's what we expect out of him. We expect that out of him, like to be like ranked 6, 7, 8 in the world, or even better for him to continue improving. But it looks like he's closer to 9 through 12 right now, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's so it's a small drop. It's not like a Hugs drop. It's not like catastrophic huge. It's a baby drop that he can recover from, but it's still the worst drop of his career. Generally, he doesn't drop like this, not for this long.
Yeah. So we're gonna have the rapid fire because we have like 30.
Yeah, keep going.
Gravy Bible Thump. I don't think he's gonna retire. I think it was a very emotional decision he made after losing.
I hope so. I agree.
Yeah. Do you think Moon has done a good job bouncing back to where he was before the rough beginning? Beat Wobbles at Evo, fit that What the Fox. Marthmain, what do you think?
Absolutely, yes. He didn't beat PPU, but PPU was on fire that tournament, obviously. And he did really well with the Fox. So I think Moon. This is the best time it's ever been to be a Moon fan. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you look at him, it's like you look at his results, who he's losing to. It's like like top 20 to top 25 is like what he's roughly doing if you look at the most recent brackets. So yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely where we put him roughly last year before the slump.
Right. So he had a slump and he recovered from it. So if you're an Axe fan, that's some hope. Moon had a slump to start of the year, and now he's a little bit back. And I'm expecting, or I'm hoping at least, he'll start doing even better than where we pegged him at the end of last year, right? Like, is he finally going to move out of the 20 to 25 range and go into 15 to 20, for example, right? And that's what remains to be seen.
What do you think about Cole's Marth? This is for you specifically.
I think it's a way better choice than his Fox and the Fox Ditto. So overall, great idea. I think it might take a calendar year plus before we see the real benefit, but I do think it's the right choice. He's been losing Fox Dittos for a decade. Like, he's got to do something about it.
And he wasn't even looking good against Falco for a while either.
So both. So I think good idea. He needed it.
Let's see. Speaking of peak melee skills, what do you think about Apex 2013 PP, MLG 2014 Mango? Okay, it looks like it's like a round robin type of thing. Apex 2013 PP versus 2014 MLG Mango versus Summit Armada versus EVO 2016 Hungry Box.
Is MLG 2014 Mango really peak Mango? I think it's relative peak Mango, but I'm not sure if it's actually the best Mango's ever been.
I have no idea on that.
What the Fox Mango might be the best Mango.
Yeah.
You know? Just because that's so displaced in time. EVO 2030 is definitely the best PP, that's for sure. So it's hard to say. Honestly, Genesis Mango might even be the best. Like, he got second, but that losers run, he went nuts, and he went 1-1 with Armada in the end. So day 3 Genesis Mango was pretty good. So yeah, I don't know, man. As I said, I would still pick this Evo's Hunger Box over anyone all time. I think he played that well.
All
I think
right.
it's the highest peak we've seen.
All right. This is gonna sound. You're gonna have to take a deep breath and bite your tongue before I finish the question. Do you think Leffen's legacy in terms of tournament results in Melee already surpasses King? Let me elaborate here. King has won one tournament with 3 of the top 6, Big House 3. However, Leffen has won 3 out of 6, 2 tournaments with 3 of the gods, Beast 5, SC Return, 2 tournaments with 4 of the gods, What the Fox and HEC, and won a tournament with 5 of them in total, Gommel. King's never won the big one.
Yes, he has. He won the big ones before there were even gods. Like, this is not fair to King. This is like forgetting his entire 07, and his 06, and like basically you're taking out his prime. Like, what we're witnessing now is post prime King. What we're witnessing is a player who has an extremely, extremely long tail legacy, who was able to stay relevant and stay top 5 for 8 years after being best in the world. So I don't think number of gods in a tournament should be like the way to measure King, because he was the best before there were gods. Like, the gods didn't exist when King was the best. It's just not. No, King has quite a lot on Leffen and legacy. Roughly 10 years. That's what he has. So I don't think that's close. No, that's not a close conversation. Not at all.
Okay, fair enough. Smash 4 question. Do you think Zero Stats is best in the world is hurt by the fact that he has attended so few events as well as losing the EVO crown? Best player in the world right now is Ally, and I'm pretty sure most of the top players agree.
Sure, man. Ally, I guess.
Yeah. Should the hitbox controller be legal?
No. It will never be legal.
We can do another video on that if we want to elaborate.
I think it's a cool project. Don't want to put a damper on the project. I think it's really cool. It's a fun project. I don't want to hate on it, but it will never be legal. As I've stated many times, when you pretty much the rule of thumb is when you change the motherboard, it's not going to be legal. When you button remap, it's not going to be legal. And yeah, so hitbox control is never going to be legal.
And I think that's one of the topics we could do on a back burner in the future, along with the commentary one.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
for the sake of time right now,
there's no chance, guys.
Right. But we can elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Somebody's actually asking you about partnership stuff.
This is an end game. They've been spamming me. I got you guys. I see it. I got it. Continue.
Okay, you guys can talk about that later. Do you think Mango cares too much about EVO compared to other events? I feel like every time I hear him talk in an event in the past few months, he always ties in getting ready for EVO, then focusing on the event itself. I don't think that's too different from the other top players. Like, yeah, sure, like What the Fox and CEO are good events, but like all the players were prepping for EVO. They revolve their schedules and they're traveling around EVO, so I don't think Mango's particularly unique in that regards.
Yeah. EVO was the big one, and they knew it.
Do you think part of Wizzy's relatively bad EVO is due to lack of preparation time? As much as we joke about it as stalling, it seems like he really does need his conditions to be right. I think the big thing for Wizzy was he regretted not coming sooner so that he could adjust to jet lag. He's still a baby, so he still needs to adjust to all that stuff. So he said next time he's going to come to Vegas 2 days earlier.
That's adorable. I love Wizzy. Yeah, I'm just a fan.
So I know. I think it does sound like a John to a lot of people, but I think I like that mindset from Wizzy because he said hey, I think this was probably one of the reasons why, and here's what I'm going to do about it next year. I'm going to come 2 days early. So we'll see if that pans out.
What I like most about Wizzy is how seriously he takes personal health and how seriously he takes being in the right conditions and being in shape, getting the right sleep. He's a professional in that sense. He may be young, but he treats it more professionally than most, if not all, of the top players.
Yeah. Imagine if one day him and Mewtwo were on the same team and they passed habits along to each other.
That'd be good. Wizzy would be a great influence on Mewtwo.
Yeah, if they were on the same team.
Yeah, and so even though it's annoying that he does that mid set, it's all kind of part of the whole him trying to be as prepared as possible kind of mantra, and I respect that. So he just can't do that during the set.
Yeah.
No, he can't. He's going overboard. But I still respect it.
Do you think there's a future for doubles in Lucky? Or in Melee?
Can you say that again?
Do you think there's a future for doubles in Melee?
As I've said many times,
I think it's an emphatic yes.
emphatically, yes. It's not just me saying it. The numbers bear it out. I'm just having to continually fight against these garbage TOs. And I say this kindly, but seriously though, who are putting it at horrible time slots, are not giving it enough airtime, that are doing bad storylining, commentators who are not prepping for doubles. Like all these things are holding it back. That's sad. When the viewership has really been there, and the interest has always been there. The viewership especially has been increasing in the last year. I've said it multiple times. Let me. I'm gonna go in a room again. All good. But the viewership has been increasing on it for the last year, and in fact, for the most part, it's been the second highest peak at almost all of our events. You look at What the Fox, for example, and doubles ended with a higher peak than Wii U Top 8. And Wii U Top 8 was pretty stacked, actually. Had a bunch of top players, and it still peaked higher. That's been happening consistently. That's been a thing that's been like everywhere. So yeah, I think it's got a lot of potential. People just need to TOs need to stop holding it back, frankly, and commentators need to put more effort into it. But people care; they've been caring for a long time. So it's just it's kind of just it's sad to me how it's neglected. But yeah, try and change that.
Any chance that Fruit Loop becomes relevant on a large tournament level using Sheik? Didn't he get like 25th this event? He got 25th at Evo, and he beat Gravy.
But he beat nobody.
That's true.
He literally beat nobody.
He beat Gravy.
Not at Evo.
CEO.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So, remember, Evo is one of those events that you can do that. You can actually get 25th and beat nobody.
So. That's true. I wish I got his bracket.
His bracket. If I got his bracket, dude, I might just have gotten 25th. It'd been great.
Instead, I had to play Nintendo for 49th.
That's life, dude.
All right. Tafo, why did you change your subs from Tafokin to TafoFam? That was top tier cute, dude. Well, I guess I'll change it back to Tafokin. So if you want to shout out about joining the Tafokin, give us a sub. Yeah. All right. Who are your favorite non-top 5 players to watch? Also nice to meet you and Blur at Evo, Destiny Fan 21.
Ooh, nice to meet you too, dude.
You want to go ahead?
Non-top 5 players to watch? I mean, do I just list every Marth? Is that what I'm doing?
Well, okay. Why don't we just pick 2 players each? Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I like PPU and SCJ.
No, I mean those are very popular and common options. People.
I think the reason why is that I'm really love nice fluid movement, and I love the way that they approach the game and the way they force whiff punishes while moving really fast while approaching their opponents. Which is something which is a skill that because I watch a lot of fighting games, I love watching whiff punishes, and that's something that Johnny and PPU do really well, and they're really dynamic in the move choices and the way they combo people.
So one answer I'm definitely going to give is Wobbles. I really love watching Wobbles. He's so creative. When he's at his peak, it's just it's mind blowing to me. So I love me watching some Wobbles, for sure. Another one. I don't want to pick any marks because that's obvious. But I'll pick. I guess I'll pick Amsa, the Yoshi. because it's freaking Yoshi, dude.
Yeah.
And he blows my mind how well he does. I know he's not so super active still, but Wobbles and Omsar are my picks. There's a lot of others. I mean, everyone's entertaining to me. I actually think literally everyone's entertaining to me. So it's tough to say.
All right. Is there anything the community can do to try to make a case for Nintendo to invest in competitive Melee, other than replying to every Nintendo of America tweet with Melee HD?
Reply to every Nintendo America tweet with ManXG every time. Don't forget that. But no, though, there's nothing you guys can do.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations where you can go all in and play the hand perfectly correct, but then you have to just kind of wait until the last card flips, and we don't know what.
We're still getting bigger in our own way, guys. So like, don't count us out yet. Like I know, obviously, the two things that everyone's been talking about as like, hey, these are the two things that would change the game, and we could become a top 3 esport. Are Melee HD and a potential actual developer support through a circuit or some sort of league. Those are the two things that for basically a decade plus we've been talking about as like the two things that our community needs the most, right? So we all know it. Those are things that we need.
Yeah.
But hey, man, we're arguably the 4th biggest esport without all that crap. So we're doing all right. We're just we need those couple things probably to become top 3. I don't think there's anything we would do that would necessarily help that though. It's very difficult. They have their own thing, guys. It's up to them.
Let's see. Yeah, so
Promo Nut says Circa is greater than Melee HD. That's probably true. I think it's clearly more important. One of them is really HD is really important too, but HD is more important if it's like backed by like a true economy, like it's backed by skins and it's free to play, and actually it's not like it's on a PC probably. Like all those things that are very unlikely to happen. If HD is just, hey, we can play it on monitors now, that's really important and still extremely important, but less important than a circuit or a league for sure. But yeah.
What do you think? Where do you think Chun's ranked right now? So in essence, he pretty much made one good upset with Wizrobe. His rest of the year hasn't been really good, so I'd say like around like 40-ish.
Chillin's around 40. He's somewhere in the 40s.
Then again,
maybe we're underestimating like local players because again, he's been losing locally.
He was 54 last year.
So yeah, actually, he's lower than that, huh? He's somewhere 50 to 60. Yeah,
I think 50 is reasonable.
Yeah. Sure.
Can Miam just use my summer rank? Number 1 Mango, 2 Mango, 3 Laughing, 4 Lucky, 5 Arbana, 6 Mango. Oh, that's kind of funny. It's a little cheeky. All right. Do you think Armada has a claim to be GOAT? Yeah. I think it's really close.
Armada has a claim to be GOAT. It's close.
I mean, yeah, they're asking claim, right? So they're not saying he is, but like you can argue it, right?
Well, absolutely, it can be argued. But I mean, some people can argue that Kareem has a claim to be GOAT over Jordan. So I think there's a much lower bar for saying that than saying is he the GOAT. I don't put him as my GOAT right now. I still think it's Mango Sliver, and it's really close. It's actually super close. If Armada had won this Evo, he would be the GOAT. Like there's no argument. So it is that close. It's like one big major win away, I would say.
All right. According to HBox, Mango messes up a lot, but it's so good that he gets away with it anyway. What does this mean, and how does he do it?
How does Mango get away with so many mistakes? He's fast, and
he's familiar with situations of skirmish that are not conventional.
Yeah, he forces skirmishes, and he's comfortable in those skirmishes, and he knows how to minimize his losses with really good DI and like counterattacks. And also like he's so good at timing mix-ups and basically doing what you don't expect that people aren't ready to punish him a lot. So it's all like that, all that put together.
Do you guys think the FGC is stubborn and doesn't like to compromise with the Smash community? And do you think the FGC doesn't respect Smash?
I think I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, there's more than, there's, and once again, like, if you want to compare online noise with your in-person experience, like the figureheads, the people I interact with that actually are the movers and shakers of the FGC, like are legitimately good people that I enjoy hanging out with.
They're good people. Obviously, we have specific complaints about specific events that we try to make better over time. But guys, without the FGC, we wouldn't have been in a stadium. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah. Um, where's the line drawn between legit criticism and entitled whining? Um, I think a lot of it, large part of it, is just how you kind of message it and what avenues you take um, to communicate your grievances.
Yeah, it's mostly about correct communication. We talked about this a lot in the last episode about how to really give feedback well, and also how TO should take feedback well. But yeah, I mean, Smash Top players need to do a better job at that, and I think the whole community does as well. Um, so it's people will get used to it, I guess. I also think there needs to be a greater interpersonal relationship with those smashers and maybe some of these TOs, and then this stuff will get kind of dealt with a little bit faster and better, so people understand each other's needs.
Alrighty. Um, Seeing as how Eva was a pretty good showing for Falco, Westball Zoo and Mango to some extent, is that a sign of good things to come for the bird?
Do we have an honest answer?
I'm sure.
I don't think it was good for Mango because Mango was lost in winners with it, and that was his whole Falco run. I don't think the Zoo thing is likely to happen again. Though it would be dope. I would love it. I don't think it's likely to happen again. And Wes had to do the run of his life to get seventh. Like it's he used to get seventh. Seventh used to be a disappointment for him. So no, I don't think it's necessarily going to happen again or replicable. And I definitely think the Falco was even weaker in best of 5 because of FD and other stages. So no, I don't think that this is like a full comeback, but it's a nice thing to have. It's not like it's bad that the Falcons did well this time. So, but I don't think we're gonna see. I don't think it necessarily means we're gonna see it again.
Fair enough. Let's see. I love your phone case. Let's see. Thank you. It's from the Big House Compendium. Can you talk about how PPMD is supposed to come back soon? He's like Goku. Like you keep thinking that he's going to come back soon, but it's like longer than expected. But he'll come back like a Super Saiyan when he does. I don't have a timeline.
I don't think he does either. It's tough to say. At the moment, we're considering him soft retired until he's not. Hopefully, he comes back. We love Kevin. If he never comes back to play, I just want him to come back to hang out.
Yep, I agree.
We love that guy.
We love the Nanster.
The Nanster.
I just want to say having good commentators made pools at Evo really enjoyable, which was surprising to me because I normally can't stand pools. This is a sign of things to come for pools at majors. I think it would really help with viewership for the first day. Well, good that we kind of talked about this earlier.
Nice. Though I'm not even sure that. I think most content schedules are done too poorly. And for the most part, I don't even think you even need pools on stream ever. I think if you make your content schedule right, all 3 days can be freaking bangers. And that's one thing I worked really hard on with Rob last year with Big House, where we did like the crew battles day 1, for example. And then day 2 was like top 64, or day 3 was like the top 8s back to back. So I mostly think that sure, good commentary makes pools way better, and I agree with that. Good commentary makes pools 1,000 times better, but you can make content schedules where you don't even need pools on stream. Like it doesn't round 1 pools at least. You do round 2 pools, but you don't really you could make good content with Smash and make it consistent, and that would probably be the best. Paparata says the Big House had the best day 1. To be honest, ask Rob who came out with the regional cruise idea, and then come back. But continue.
You know what would be a good idea, Blur?
What's up?
Instead of like showing the first wave of first pools, you create a couch and have people that aren't on the first wave and just have them sit down and talk about what they think is going to happen at their event. So you have like Mango come on and then like HBox.
That'd be cool. I also just think that I don't want to give too much away, but I think that like ultimately how we do pools to round two pools is broken, and instead we could just continue our wave format. You need a little bit more setups to do it, but you could basically start the day off with round two pools on stream if you do it right, because you can have your round one pools players, the people who advance from that, play their round two immediately afterwards, and then stream that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was it? When you and Blur were in top form, how long did you practice Melee every day? And how long was specifically devoted to tech skill? When I loved this game, like it was in high school where we would play it as much as we could get our hands on it, pending like schoolwork and going to school. So we'd play during lunch, we'd play after school. I would easily say we spent like probably 2 to 3 hours a day. On some days we'd play like 5 hours, and then there were like weekends where we'd play it a lot. That's at least my case until like I got to a comfortable level of like movement.
I'd say so. I say this over and over again. I think 90% of my skill at the game, and I'm so good, comes from roughly like 2 months of taking the game seriously. For the most part, yes, I've been around since 2004, but I've been around as like a TO, community leader, commentator, all this stuff for almost all of it. And but I took the game seriously when there was like an Arcadian, the first Arcadian basically, in SoCal, and I took it really seriously. Even though I was hosting it, I wanted to win it because I had a chance. So I practiced really hard in those 2 months, and I think, I mean, I played like 6 times a week, and each of those sessions were like 8 hours long. So I went super hard. But that's the only time I really took it seriously. Other than that, like, I never really went more than a few hours a week, like mostly I was at events and I was at Smash events, but I wasn't playing. So
Yeah, and it's kind of it kind of says a point like Blur knows how much I play. Like I literally don't get time to play, and the fact that like I'm still winning against decent players that are practicing all the time really shows like uh, maintenance is not that hard.
yeah, I think like just like when you understand the game, it helps a lot.
Yeah, like once you get to like a certain level, it's like all about like okay, like what do I want to refine at this point?
I mean, people in the chat are not gonna like me to say this, but I walk into a Smash venue most times, I can beat like 95% of the room still. And for me, that blows my mind. Like it doesn't make any sense. But I guess like just being around Smash and like being around long enough and knowing enough about the
I mean,
game.
because we're kind of thinking about situations whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, got hose and area codes. Thanks for subbing. Welcome to the Tafokins. Do you like Tafokins?
No, not really. I think it's very dorky, but that's kind of your thing, so it's okay.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for subbing. I think it's adorable. I got the pun thing going. Let's see. What's the next question? Do you think there's ever a chance that Nintendo will actually put money into Melee?
Very unlikely. Probably not.
Probably not, given their philosophy on things.
It's only been 15 years, guys. You still waiting? Like they're gonna come around any time now. So very unlikely. And I mean, unlikely. It's sad to say.
Do you think HBox will have with oh my gosh, this is like grammatic. I'm just gonna reread it and assume change the grammar. Do you think Hungrybox will have the same drive after winning Evo, or has he quote unquote accomplished what he wanted? No.
What, you think he's gonna not have the same drive?
Oh, I think he's gonna. He still said, in an interview that he still hasn't won certain events, so he still needs to do like Big House, for example. Has he won a Big House? I can't think of
No,
it.
no,
No,
he
he
hasn't.
hasn't. He hasn't done a Big House. He hasn't
He
done
got
Smash
second
Up.
to Mewtwo King.
Oof. No, that was the ninth last time. Wait, no, no, no.
Right, but
Last year he got second.
I was talking the Big House Mewtwo King won. That was them in grand finals, right?
Last year he got second. So yeah, he hasn't won. So yeah, I think he wants to win at least one of everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more. He's still not the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of legacy to build up still.
Ooh, we're at 20 subs. I have to hire somebody.
I
Thanks.
also think that, like, let's say, I mean, this is the peak of his skill ever, right? This is when you build your legacy, right? Like, this is the point. Like, most people, whether right or wrong, view and value peak skill and like basically someone's prime a little bit more than they view like their long tail, right? So or like their different points of their time. So this every tournament he wins now means more for his legacy than any other tournament.
Yeah, it's like the icing on the cake. I mean, it's gonna be interesting when the question comes like, $100 or Mewtwo King.
Yeah, yeah, that's like he's getting there. I think within a year, maybe even 6 months, if he wins for the next 6 months, he'll have a very good argument against Mewtwo King.
I mean, I think that like matches Mewtwo King's reign, right? And they've
It matches or exceeds his reign, right? And he has had a really good longevity himself, right? Not quite Mewtwo King level, so it'll be close, right? Like he would need, I think he needs a whole year of it,
But
not.
like, how much? If we're like talking longevity in those Mewtwo King years, how many of those years has Hungrybox been better?
Oh, that's a good point. Hungrybox is better for like almost all of it, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you start looking at the head-to-head lifetime, and that would give HBox a good argument too. So, yeah, he like look, guys, these guys are all trying to build legacy, and he's not that far from itching on Mewtwo King now that he's past BC. So, I think he's thinking about that.
All right. Question for Blur. This is from Practical TS. What's your hot take on my tennis style rankings in general?
Dude, I think they're really cool. I think that I like all the mathematical ways people use and try to make get data, grab data. The thing that I think people don't use enough in commentary or talk about are Smashboards rankings. Smashboards rankings are really good, actually. Like basically, they're the only ranking that goes hundreds deep, right? Like they're way better than people give account for.
Isn't Hugs like 19th still on it?
Maybe, but very often by the time like 6 months into the year, Smashboard's ranking is going to be better than SSBM rank. Like there comes a point where it's more accurate, or at least it's accurate enough.
Axis 5.
Right now,
Yeah.
that can't be true.
Axis 5, Wes is 6. Flop is 10.
I'm pulling up right now. That can't be true. I take it all back. This is all true.
MacD's 12. Prince Abu's
Axis
23.
5?
Kalindi, KGH is 22. Hugs is 20.
All right, I'm wrong. I don't like it. You're right.
I mean, props to them because it's just we take it at face value. Like these are just computed formulas, so we know exactly how they derive
I
it.
swear, last time I looked at it, it was better than this.
No, it's always been pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. But one thing it does do is that I do like about it is like let's say you're on Smash and it shows you a Smashboards rank. If someone is in like the top 400, it lets you know they're like at least seedable. You should seed them somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Which is something that like past it goes past 100. But yeah, it's wrong. There's no way that Rick is 57th in the world. Lance in the Pants is not 55th in the world. I'm looking at Shmugai. Oh, that's Kira, but he's probably not 48th. Okay, this is way wrong. This is actually way wrong. Okay, all right. All right. I take guys. I was wrong. But
this might be like your most egregious like mistake or call out.
Well, I just take it all back. I don't want to go on. But the tennis rankings, yeah, dude, good project. I think for the most part, it should be said that like, as cool as they are, like most people value. So there's three ways you can make rankings, right? You can do it mathematically with like an ELO-based formula or a tennis formula or a Smashboards formula, whatever it is. You could do it through a panel, or you can do it results based, aka you win an event, you get points. Period. There's no, and everyone knows the results, and that's it, right? People tend to value the second and third one a little bit more. They value a panel because they want and love the feeling that, hey, a panel of my peers of very educated and informed people think I'm this level, right? They like that. They want to be known as good. They don't just want to be good, they want to be known as good. So people
Right.
value the panel. And the third one, they like it because everyone goes in and knows the set of rules, and it's very clear. So like, let's say there are four events and they each have 100 points for first, 80 points for second, 60 points for third, blah blah blah. Then all of the players know what they need to do to finish first after the four events, and therefore like it's an even playing field, and whoever just performs better is the one who wins, right? Like it's just a pure performance measurement. When it becomes a complex mathematical formula, most players, it's just kind of like their eyes glaze over and they're like, what does this even mean? Like how are they supposed to affect that number? Because hard time understanding it, right? So I think it's cool. I think it's good for like arguments about who's better, who's not, and it's good like in an advanced stat sort of way. But I also know that it won't be adopted in terms of the storyline and quite like the second or third type of ranking would be. But cool project, homie.
I think it's always good as a referential point. Let's see.
Practical TA says, what makes Type 3 not a formula, i.e. Type 1? Because it's more of like a circuit basis. Like you don't ever see like a league use Type 1, except maybe chess, I guess. So it is technically a formula, but it's just like so simplified that like it's less so. It's like almost
You make more arbitrary decisions, I feel, in one of them too. Like, why is this event worth 100, and why
and
is
right. Well, arbitrary, yes, but people know the rules beforehand,
yeah?
effectively.
But like it was
It's
like a pure formula, right?
like it's less about who you play and it's more about where you place, right?
Yeah.
So
All right. Let's see. A few more questions. What do you think of nuns consistently adding ledge canceled up Bs? Does four what is okay? What do you think of none consistently adding? These are so grammatically bad. What do you think about none being able to consistently do ledge canceled up Bs for Falcon in competitive play, especially in terms of recovery? On most Falcons implemented.
most of them can do it. It's not just none, right?
Yeah, Johnny's been doing it for years.
Yeah, it's important. You have to be able to do it or he can't recover.
Would Blur cry if mainly HD released? I think I would be in like a state of nirvana or like surrealness where
I
like I
think
just wouldn't.
yeah, I think crying is actually like understating it. I would like I would I might just die. Like I might just have a heart attack and die at that announcement. That might just do it for me. Like I you guys would have to watch out for me. That'd be tough. And what a way to go out. It'd be a great way to go out.
I think I would like scrutinize the video like frame by frame to see like did they screw up anything.
That's also what would happen with me is I'd be hype, super hype, but I'd also be terrified that they're gonna screw it up. So I'd have both feelings at the same time.
All right. You have a new question. How do you think top players like Armada or Mango prevent themselves from getting burnt out from practicing so much?
Um, I don't think they do much protection right now, but
I
I
mean,
think
Mango streams other games.
yeah, Mango streams other games to wind down. Armada kind of like travels less sometimes on like slower seasons in Melee, so he's more choosy about his events. Yeah, I mean, they're getting smarter about it gradually as they get used to it. Like sometimes they take 3 days off, from playing, like immediately after a major, just to refocus.
Yeah.
So things like that. But I don't think they're doing a great job at it.
Any plans for guests for upcoming Commentator's Curse? I think it depends. Like, I think if we have a light week, then we'd consider it.
Yeah, I mean, like this upcoming weekend, is there anything?
I don't think so. I think we're pretty light.
So we might do a guest next week. We could do one.
Yeah,
So
we have enough friends.
yeah.
What do you?
SCB Editor says, if they did screw up Melee HG, do you think the community would just disregard the new product and stick to normal Melee? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we do. That's actually what we're best at as a community, disregarding the new game. So yes, we would do that.
What do I think about a BCS style ranking with tennis style rankings combined with a year-end panel vote?
That's just really complex question, but
So like I'd be adding formulas on top of formulas.
yeah. But BCS rankings suck. It shouldn't be replicated anywhere. Pretty much everyone hates BCS rankings. Why would we do something that like replicates a widely hated system? You know, it's like adding East Coast and West Coast conferences to Smash. You know, like from the NBA. Everyone hates it. Let's not copy something everyone hates, and they like it's just not a good idea.
All right. Yeah, I agree. It's like a result that like nobody ever leaves happy with. What are our thoughts on the PM championship circuits point systems? Can Melee do the same thing to determine year-end rankings? I mean, we
I don't
could.
really know the PM system, so
I mean, I think it's probably similar to like tennis rankings.
well, I mean, dope. Yeah, I mean, sure.
I mean,
Sure.
yeah, I think it's nice, but I think Practical Task is already doing that. So, any funny stories from Evo? Oh, I got one. So we're playing. So Team Melee on Me was in and alumni were at the casino after Evo, and it was like me, Juggle Guy, and a few others, and they ID'd us, and they were like, "Oh, like you guys made it." It's like you guys are all so young, and then we all like pointed. It's like, oh, they only carded one person, and then later on, like the guy was like pointing to this guy in shorts and a CLG hat, Kevin, and it was like, dude, and he was just like wondering how old he was, and he was just like, dude, I'm so carding him when he comes to my table if he comes, and we're just like the pit boss was just talking about how young Kevin looked the whole time,
That's so funny.
and it's kind of weird because like you have Zach sitting right next to him who kind of legitimately looks 21 or 22, and like Kevin who looks 12. And he was just talking about how young Kevin looked the whole time.
That's too much fun. That's actually too funny.
Oh yeah, they suck ass at craps, by the way. Like I know it's a luck game, but they did everything possible to lose money as quick as possible. Like they would roll like a 3 or a 12 and we'd straight up lose, and then they roll a number and then a 7, and then roll a number and then a 7. So not fun times playing craps with QFAT.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, all my stories are NSFW, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oof.
My man's or Illuminati. So it's like one or the other. So it's tough. But one place where you can check out, you know, some of that stuff is my new Snapchat, Blur After Dark, which is popping off right now.
I heard it was popping off. You know, I've had 2 people mention it to me.
I cannot believe I made a Snapchat and like literally 2 days later, I'm already getting like 500, 600, 700 views on like everything. I don't know what's going on. Everyone wants to see the secret life.
The Secret Life of Crimson Blur. Who would have thunk?
Who'd have thunk, dude? So that's one place where you can see that behind the scenes, you know, pure Illuminati status stuff. So I recommend it. It's popping off.
Popping. All right. I don't have any other.
No more questions? Really? I thought you said we had 30.
Yeah, we went through them all.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, it took us like a good hour, I think.
That's nuts. That's nuts. So yeah, good show, man.
Good stuff.
Good show. That's a long one. We had a lot. We didn't even. There's more we could have talked about. You know, there's a lot more we could have talked about. We didn't touch on the Hyuga thing. We barely touched on the commentators thing. I think we touched on a little bit, but I mean, we've already been going for 3 hours, so who's even watching anymore? Let's wrap it up.
Alrighty. So good. We'll end this episode. Thanks for tuning in. And once again, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays is usually when we run this show. So thanks for joining in.